this order? Will the matter go all the way to the Republican-leaning Supreme Court? U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio hits the ground running, holds the Quad meeting. First Quad meeting in less than 24 hours of Senate confirmation. The meeting signifies Trump administration's focus on addressing the China challenge. As ties with India nosedive, Bangladesh looks to strengthen its relations with China. UNS's foreign minister is in China to significantly boost its relationship. The move signals further strain in the New Delhi-Dhaka relationship, which has suffered significantly after UNS's interim government mainstreamed radical and extremist Islamist elements in Bangladesh. The big story that we are tracking right now, viewers, U.S. President Donald Trump has upended one of the nation's long-standing immigration policies, effectively ending birthright citizenship as we know it. Under his new executive order, Trump claims the 14th Amendment has been misinterpreted, saying it has always excluded those born in the U.S. who are not under the jurisdiction of the country at the time of their birth. The implications are grave. Millions of children born to parents on temporary visas would no longer have the automatic right to citizenship. The new directive specifically targets children born to individuals in the U.S. under these circumstances. First being that we are playing out on your screens, a mother unlawfully present, a father not a U.S. citizen or permanent resident, or those whose parents' presence is only temporary. This means children born to H-1B visa holders, student visa holders, or even tourists could now find themselves without the citizenship they once assumed was theirs by birthright. This move hits hard, especially the Indian American community, which now comprises over 5.4 million people in the U.S. Nearly two-thirds of these are first-generation immigrants. As their numbers rise, this decision has sent shockwaves through the families who came to the U.S. for work, study or tourism, only to find their children's citizenship status now in grave jeopardy. Consider the impact on families here on H-1B visas, many of whom have waited years for a green card. With birthright citizenship under threat, their children born in the U.S. would no longer be guaranteed U.S. citizenship. The implications are profound, viewers. Not only would these children lose the right to petition for their parents' green cards when they turn 21, but their very future in America would be completely clouded with uncertainty. Immigration experts fear that this could discourage skilled Indian professionals from pursuing opportunities in the U.S. Many may begin to reconsider their options, turning to countries like Canada, Australia, or where immigration policies are more welcoming and family-friendly. The U.S. risks losing the very talent that has fueled its innovation and growth for decades. But it is important to note here that the move is not retrospective. It does not apply to those who have already been granted citizenship. 22 states have already challenged this, and its implementation is still months away. Its potential to shake the foundations of U.S. immigration is undeniable. The fight for birthright citizenship isn't just a battle over legalities. It's a battle for the soul of the American dream. The decision may end up pushing talented individuals away from country that has long prided itself on being a land of opportunities, and in doing so, America could find itself standing at crossroads, facing a future where the innovation, diversity and talent that once made it great may slip through its fingers. All right, let's get in Nick Harper joining me for more on this to talk more about the impact this could have and why this is so significant. Nick, good to have you on the show. And the first thing I want to ask you is that the decision, the executive order decision, many thought was actually going to target illegal immigrants, but it has sent shockwaves across the legal immigrant community as well.
You're right, Gordy. Yeah, very interesting the way that Donald Trump has laid out this executive order, because throughout his election campaign, he spoke about illegal immigration. And the thought was that that was going to be, as it has been, his main and first order of business, to secure the US-Mexico border, to stop millions of people, as we saw under the Biden administration, entering the US illegally. And in this executive order, he is ending birthright citizenship, something that is written into the US Constitution, something that has been backed up by the Supreme Court in years gone by. But within that order itself, as you mentioned, when you break it down, it not just targets people who are here in the United States illegally, but also legally or on a temporary basis on H-1B1 visas, or if they are here as a tourist. So we have seen a very confused, angered reaction across the United States. We've seen 22 of the 50 states already suing the Trump administration over this new executive order. It is something that is facing unprecedented legal challenges. It's something that's likely to be heading towards the courts. It could potentially end up all the way in the Supreme Court. Donald Trump making it very clear that he wants to do something to end the immigration that he feels is a tremendous problem for the United States. But the reverse of all of this, as you mentioned, it could limit that land of opportunity that the United States has presented in the past, and it could limit that diversity within the workplace, being able to bring Indian workers here to the United States to work in the technology industry in Silicon Valley. It could have a negative impact for the United States, but of course the other countries who have been sending workers here who may now not want to do so because of the changes that Donald Trump is putting in.
Nick, talk to us about the fact that there is a lot of uncertainty about the implementation of this as well. Yes, the executive order says that it gets in motion from the 20th of February, but the fact that it's being challenged by over, almost 24 states, where does that leave in terms of its longevity and whether it's actually going to be implemented? Nick, is my voice reaching you? All right. I believe that's a question that we're going to keep asking till we have clarity on what really will be the status of the executive order. In fact, viewers, more on the H-1B visa debate that has really sent shockwaves across the Indian American community. Donald Trump has expressed a balanced view on the H-1B program. Speaking at a White House news conference, he stressed the need to bring in what he described as competent people from around the world, pointing out that this isn't just about engineers, but professionals across various fields. He also noted the growing demand for skilled workers, especially in tech and other industries. Donald Trump reiterated the importance of balancing high-quality immigration with business growth, saying the H-1B program is essential for attracting top talent to the U.S. While he acknowledged the various views on the issue, he maintained that the program plays a key role in boosting the country's workforce. However, there's a clear divide within Donald Trump's base on this issue. Tech leaders like Elon Musk support the program to help recruit skilled workers. Some of his supporters argue that it takes jobs away from American workers. Currently, the minimum salary for H-1B visa holders stands at about $60,000, but proposals suggest increasing it to $120,000 or more. This significant rise could disproportionately affect entry-level and mid-level professionals, narrowing the talent pipeline for Indian IT firms. All right. Staying with more news coming in from the U.S., a bombshell has in fact exploded in Donald Trump's Washington. Vivek Ramaswamy, the former presidential hopeful and tech entrepreneur, has resigned from his role as the co-head of the Department of Government Efficiency. The announcement follows a whirlwind of controversy, with some questioning whether Elon Musk himself may have pushed Ramaswamy out or not. This report tells you the story in greater detail.
Have Donald Trump and Elon Musk dumped Vivek Ramaswamy? His surprise exit from Doge and sudden disappearance from Trump 2.0 events comes on the heels of his bold and controversial comments on X. On December 26th, Ramaswamy blasted American culture, calling it mediocre and accusing companies of prioritizing foreign engineers over American talent. Reports indicate his words hit a nerve, not just with critics, but with some key figures in Trump's inner circle. So did Musk pull the strings? The tension had reportedly been brewing for months. Musk, focused on government reform, reportedly wasn't thrilled with Ramaswamy's leadership style or his deviation from Doge's mission. With Ramaswamy now out, Musk is firmly in control of Doge. But Ramaswamy's departure also adds fuel to the fire, raising ethical concerns about program structure and its potential conflict of interest. With legal challenges already dogging Doge, Musk's leadership is under a microscope. The program, which aims to slash up to $2 trillion from federal costs, is facing scrutiny over its transparency and whether it violates federal advisory rules. For Ramaswamy, the resignation marks the end of one chapter and the beginning of another. Now setting his sights on Ohio, he's preparing for a gubernatorial run in 2026, following the term limits of current governor Mike DeWine. It's clear that Ramaswamy's exit from Doge wasn't just about government reform, it's about setting the stage for a comeback in the heart of America. But with legal battles brewing for Doge and Musk's vision for government efficiency in flux, the future remains uncertain. With Musk at the helm, Doge will continue its ambitious mission, but will the push for reform spark new legal and political headache? And as Ramaswamy eyes a political future in Ohio, the question remains, was his exit from Doge a strategic move or a forced one? For now, all eyes are on Ohio and Washington, where the stakes are sky high and the players are ready to make their next move.
All right, we're slipping into a quick break. On the other side, Israel's top military leadership is grappling with the fallout from the catastrophic October 7 Hamas attack. We find out why. Stay with us.
Actor of the Year. By the way, my dear friends, probably I am one of the first ones in the history of NDTV to have this rare, proud honor of announcing and honoring as in the place of a real hero to a reel of my own movie, Shrikant. Without a further ado, with great admiration, love and due respect, the best actor of the year goes to Shri Rajkumar Rao. Please come on to the stage.
Ladies and gentlemen, Rajkumar Rao's versatility, dedication to meaningful cinema, and consistent delivery of powerful performances continued in 2024. His recent roles in Shrikant, Mr. and Mrs. Mahi, Stree 2, and Wiki Vidya Ka Wo Wala video showcases his deep commitment to his craft, often transforming himself physically and emotionally to suit the character's demands, making Rajkumar Rao the NDTV actor of 2024.
जोरदार तालियां राजकुमार के लिए। भाई हम सबके दिलों के राजकुमार भी तो हैं ये। राजकुमार, आपसे पूछना चाहेंगे हम 2024 मेरे ख्याल से आपके जीवन का सबसे सुनहरा साल आप इसको मानेंगे?
Well, definitely. First of all, thank you so much, NDTV. Thank you, sir. Thank you, jury. Thank you, Shrikant, the real Shrikant, for giving us your life story and for giving me this opportunity to play you on screen, because it was one of the most challenging parts. But I had so much fun because when there are challenges, then only it's fun. Otherwise, it gets very monotonous, very boring.
आपने तो अपॉर्चुनिटी छीन लिया, नहीं तो मैं खुद प्ले करता था यार।
नहीं, प्लीज कुछ काम हमें भी करने दो। आप सब कुछ करोगे तो फिर हम क्या करेंगे?
नहीं, सीक्वल 2 में हम दोनों लड़ेंगे।
डन।
किसको अपॉर्चुनिटी मिलेगा, किसका लुक बेटर होगा, देखेंगे ना।
डन। बट यार 2024 बहुत ही अच्छा रहा। I think God has been really kind. This is my second Indian of the year. I received it in 2017 because that was also a fabulous year. But I want every year to be a fabulous year for our cinema, for our stories. I wish कि हम लोग अच्छी कहानियाँ कहें, अच्छा content बनाएं, so that we can films like Shrikant, where we can inspire people, because his life is so inspiring and not many people knew about him, unfortunately. But through cinema, we can tell such beautiful stories which can touch your heart, which can change someone's life. So I just wish कि हर साल 2024 जैसा ही हो और मैं यहाँ पर और आता रहूँ और ऐसे कमाल श्रीकांत जैसे लोगों से अवार्ड लेता रहूँ. So again, thank you so much NDTV. This means a lot to me.
From interesting tech startups to industry-leading companies, politics, sports, culture, curry, cricket. Oh, there's so much to talk about. Like me, if you too thrive on interesting conversations, this is a show you cannot miss. Watch this space to know more about all matters and all people that make Britain what it is today. Out of Britain, with me, Radhika Iyer.
Actor of the Year. By the way, my dear friends, you know, probably I am one of the first ones in the history of NDTV to have this rare, proud honor of announcing and honoring as in the place of a real hero to a reel of my own movie, Shrikant. Without a further ado, with great admiration, love and due respect, the best actor of the year goes to Shri Rajkumar Rao. Please come on to the stage.
Ladies and gentlemen, Rajkumar Rao's versatility, dedication to meaningful cinema, and consistent delivery of powerful performances continued in 2024. His recent roles in Shrikant, Mr. and Mrs. Mahi, Stree 2, and Wiki Vidya Ka Wo Wala video showcases his deep commitment to his craft, often transforming himself physically and emotionally to suit the character's demands, making Rajkumar Rao the NDTV actor of 2024.
जोरदार तालियां राजकुमार के लिए. भाई हम सबके दिलों के राजकुमार भी तो हैं ये. राजकुमार, आपसे पूछना चाहेंगे हम 2024 मेरे ख्याल से आपके जीवन का सबसे सुनहरा साल आप इसको मानेंगे?
Well, definitely. First of all, thank you so much NDTV. Thank you, sir. Thank you, jury. Thank you, Shrikant, the real Shrikant.
This is India Global. I'm Gauri Dwivedi. We now turn our attention to the Middle East, where we speak about the freed Israeli hostage and her first Instagram post. Romi Gonin's first Instagram post since her release from Hamas captivity has really captured the emotions of a nation. After being freed on Sunday, after spending over 430 days in captivity, Gonin shared a heartfelt message saying that there is life after death, alongside an image of herself embracing her mother, a moment she described as well surreal. Her gratitude was evident as she thanked the people of Israel, her family, friends, acknowledging that their prayers and strength helped guide her through the darkest days of her ordeal. But Gonin's message of hope was tempered with a call for action. As she celebrates her return, she reminded the world that there are 94 hostages that continue to remain in Gaza, fighting for their lives. Meanwhile, Israel's top military leadership is now grappling with the fallout from the catastrophic October 7 Hamas attack, which left 1,200 people dead and over 200 people were in fact captured. In a dramatic move on Tuesday, Israel Defense Forces Chief of Staff, Lieutenant General Herzi, and the head of the IDF Southern Command, Major General Finkelman, announced their resignation, citing their responsibility for their failures that led to the Hamas onslaught. This is, in fact, it comes with a deep sense of accountability. In his letter to the defense minister, the general acknowledged the military's failure on the 7th of October to protect Israeli citizens, a failure that remains with me every day. That's what he says in the letter, every hour, and will remain with me for the rest of my lives. It's important to note that the 7th of October Hamas attack has been the single largest attack on the Jewish people since the Holocaust. Both Halavi and Finkelman are joining a growing list of high-ranking officials who have resigned in the wake of the attack, including top figures from the military intelligence and Gaza divisions. Let's get in my colleague Mohammad Ghazali to really talk to us about, it's a moving story and just tells how it's like to be in captivity for about 430 days. But Ghazali, what I want to speak to you about is finally one is seeing some major fallout of the attack as far as Israeli leadership is going. You've been working up the phones, you've been talking to your sources. What are they telling you about the Israeli political, military landscape looking like?
See, the political and military landscape or the division was very wide since the war broke out, because initially in the response to the Hamas attack on October 7, even the decision when to launch an attack, whether it should be a ground invasion, whether the forces should stay in Gaza, it was very out in the open that the military leadership as well as the political leadership had huge differences. Even with Mr. Netanyahu, his right-wing cabinet colleagues pushed him till the end to ensure that Gaza is occupied or reoccupied. Gaza campaign also went on throughout this war. Settlements had to be built into Gaza was the main focus of these cabinet colleagues of Mr. Netanyahu, while the army chief or say the IDF chief there or the defense establishment people and experts in think tanks over there kept suggesting the government that occupying Gaza or staying in Gaza will only keep to sort of inflate this entire conflict for far more days than what it was anticipated initially. It was also believed that Mr. Antony Blinken, the previous Secretary of State from the United States, as well as his counterparts in Israel and other countries kept suggesting that IDF has not been able to inflict that kind of damage onto Hamas, which was expected earlier, which was one of the war objectives. The two major war objectives which Mr. Netanyahu outlined immediately after the attack was to dismantle Hamas, to ensure that it doesn't come back into power, and second was to retrieve all the hostages from Gaza Strip, which the war has not achieved because the ceasefire came through the external interference or mediation from Qatar, Egypt and other countries. So this was always the baseline of this conflict between the political class and the military class, and IDF chief has time and again said that somebody will have to take responsibility. And why Mr. Netanyahu didn't take or resign from the cabinet or from his post was because we have seen in the past that how Golda Meir, one of the very remarkable prime ministers of Israel, saw what happened after 1973, the war with Egypt, how she had to face consequences in the elections. And that is exactly what Mr. Netanyahu is also believing, because he's already facing those corruption charges, the trial of which is still ongoing. And we saw that before the outbreak of the war, that how long-time protest was going on in Israel to halt that particular law which could have paused any kind of trial against Mr. Netanyahu in the corruption charges. So overall, right now, on one side in the Israeli society, obviously there is a lot of optimism that these three hostages have come back home. The ceasefire deal brokered by Israel and its allies have worked out. Now all eyes are on next Saturday or the coming Saturday, when it is expected that more hostages will be released by Hamas.
And Ghazali, I wanted to speak to you about the other part, which is that, this is a phased transition that the region is seeing. Talk to us about the fact that now that there's Donald Trump in office, his administration, it has a different view about the entire situation. How will that impact Israeli political landscape, and will that have an impact on Benjamin Netanyahu, his government, as well as the military?
See, except Jimmy Carter as the United States president, all the presidents after him or before him have been very supportive of Israel. Even Mr. Biden, Mr. Trump, Mr. Obama, they have all been very supportive of Israel's policies in its own territory as well as in the occupied territory. And as rightly you pointed out, Mr. Trump was the first one to sort of declare Jerusalem as the capital of Israel, while Jerusalem is a disputed territory as per the international law. Second, he was the one who was the architect of Abraham Accords to bring more Arab countries, or to sort of bring them on the table to recognize Israel as a state, establish diplomatic relations. And then he was the one who also spoke about bringing two major players, Israel and Saudi Arabia, or to bring the normalization deal, or to at least speak about it. Now, in this particular term, what we heard that how Mr. Trump actually forced down this ceasefire deal onto the Netanyahu government, asking him to accept it anyway. But the Israeli government there, or the Israeli diplomats there, believe that perhaps in exchange of this Israeli government accepting the ceasefire deal, maybe Mr. Trump will allow more settler movement or allow more settlements to be built in the occupied territory. And exactly he has hinted that by lifting sanctions on those settlers who were brought under sanction, or those who were put under sanction by the previous Biden administration. So in some way or the other, Mr. Netanyahu also believes that as per all the previous US presidents, Mr. Trump will be more friendly. He will take decisions which will be more favorable for the state of Israel.
All right, Mohammad Ghazali, appreciate you taking out the time for a very important story, and in fact staying with the region, staying with the Middle East, and moving on to Iran, where we've got a very special and an important voice coming in from Davos. The chief of Global Nuclear Watchdog, IAEA, speaks to NDTV. The chief of IAEA speaks to Vishnu Som, my colleague in Davos. Europe's largest and now Russian-occupied ZNPP nuclear power plant in conflict-hit Ukraine had been minutes or hours away a few times from a nuclear catastrophe. The head of the Intergovernmental Forum for Scientific and Technical Cooperation in the Nuclear Field, told NDTV. Listen in.
The West Asia situation, fingers crossed, might be a little better now with the hostage situation improving, but there was a huge concern that missile barrages might end up resulting in something larger. Many in Israel say that Iran is building a nuclear weapon. Is it the IAEA's belief that that is the case?
No, we don't have any evidence that Iran is building a nuclear weapon. But at the same time, it is true that Iran has accumulated a vast amount of enriched uranium, a very high level of enrichment, which makes it very, very close to weapon level grade. And on top of that, we have not been having the full cooperation of Iran in clarifying a few important things about past and perhaps present activities. I am fully engaged, I have to say. We are inspecting. The thing is that we are not inspecting at the levels or in all the places that we believe we should be inspecting. I had the opportunity to visit, I've been very frequently to Tehran, but this time I met with President Pezeshkian, with the foreign minister and others, and we are trying to improve the situation. Of course, now with the change of administration in the United States, there is an expectation that things may be moving again. We are going to be talking to all partners, as we always do, in trying to make or to bring more certainty to this very volatile situation in Iran.
All right, we slip into a quick break, but on the other side, we decode why Bangladesh is now increasingly looking eastwards towards China at a time of rising tensions with its long-time neighbor and ally, India. Stay with us, we decode that story for you.
Actor of the Year. By the way, my dear friends, you know, probably I am one of the first ones in the history of NDTV to have this rare, proud honor of announcing and honoring as in the place of a real hero to a reel of my own movie, Shrikant. Without a further ado, with great admiration, love and due respect, the best actor of the year goes to Shri Rajkumar Rao. Please come on to the stage.
Ladies and gentlemen, Rajkumar Rao's versatility, dedication to meaningful cinema, and consistent delivery of powerful performances continued in 2024. His recent roles in Shrikant, Mr. and Mrs. Mahi, Stree 2, and Wiki Vidya Ka Wo Wala video showcases his deep commitment to his craft, often transforming himself physically and emotionally to suit the character's demands, making Rajkumar Rao the NDTV actor of 2024.
जोरदार तालियां राजकुमार के लिए। भाई हम सबके दिलों के राजकुमार भी तो हैं ये। राजकुमार, आपसे पूछना चाहेंगे हम, 2024 मेरे ख्याल से आपके जीवन का सबसे सुनहरा साल आप इसको मानेंगे?
Well, definitely. First of all, thank you so much, NDTV. Thank you, sir. Thank you, jury. Thank you, Shrikant, the real Shrikant, for giving us your life story and for giving me this opportunity to play you on screen, because it was one of the most challenging parts. But I had so much fun because when there are challenges, then only it's fun. Otherwise, it gets very monotonous, very boring.
आपने तो अपॉर्चुनिटी छीन लिया, नहीं तो मैं खुद प्ले करता था यार।
नहीं, प्लीज कुछ काम हमें भी करने दो। आप सब कुछ करोगे तो फिर हम क्या करेंगे?
नहीं, सीक्वल 2 में हम दोनों लड़ेंगे।
डन।
किसको अपॉर्चुनिटी मिलेगा, किसका लुक बेटर होगा, देखेंगे ना।
डन। बट यार 2024 बहुत ही अच्छा रहा। I think God has been really kind. This is my second Indian of the year. I received it in 2017 because that was also a fabulous year. But I want every year to be a fabulous year for our cinema, for our stories. I wish कि हम लोग अच्छी कहानियाँ कहें, अच्छा content बनाएं, so that we can films like Shrikant, where we can inspire people, because his life is so inspiring and not many people knew about him, unfortunately. But through cinema, we can tell such beautiful stories which can touch your heart, which can change someone's life. So I just wish कि हर साल 2024 जैसा ही हो और मैं यहाँ पर और आता रहूँ और ऐसे कमाल Shrikant जैसे लोगों से अवार्ड लेता रहूँ. So again, thank you so much NDTV. This means a lot to me.
those kind of roles? I mean, how
This is India Global. I'm Gauri Dwivedi. We now turn our attention to what's happening in South Asian geopolitics. Dramatic shift is underway. Bangladesh is increasingly looking eastward, seeking closer economic and diplomatic ties with China and other East Asian powers. The pivot comes at a time of rising tensions with its longtime neighbor and ally, India. Bangladesh's interim government and its advisor for foreign affairs, Tauheed Hussain, is currently in Beijing, during which he will hold talks with his Chinese counterpart, the Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi. But as Bangladesh seeks to diversify its international relations, the relationship with India remains under strain. Tensions have flared over political instability in Dhaka, particularly surrounding the controversial exile of Bangladesh's former leader Sheikh Hasina. With the interim government under the fire amidst concerns over the safety of Hindus in Bangladesh, diplomatic efforts have failed to heal the rift. The diplomatic and political crisis deepens with the ongoing issue of Hasina's extradition. Bangladesh has issued a formal request for the return of its former prime minister, who faces charges of crimes against humanity and genocide in the International Crimes Tribunal. Asif Nazrul, who is Bangladesh's law advisor, warned that India's refusal to comply would be a violation of the extradition treaty between the two countries. In fact, Bangladesh is now exploring international support to pressure India into handing over Hasina. The country has already issued a red alert for her return, while diplomatic efforts have intensified. Amidst this political turmoil, the interim government is struggling to restore law and order, following a violent student uprising that led to Hasina's ouster. As Bangladesh turns the gaze eastward, the shifting alliances and rising tensions with India are set to mark a pivotal moment in the region's political landscape. Let's get in Saurabh Gupta joining me live from Kolkata to give a sense of how things are looking right now for Bangladesh. Saurabh, every day there is fresh news coming in from Dhaka indicating that the nosedive that has happened in relationship with India, there seems to be no upside to it right now. In fact, the trip to China comes at a time when there's no effort being made by Mohammad Yunus's government to restore relationship with India. That's shocking.
Yes, it is, and you know, if we've been following some of the agreements, some of the announcements that are being made during the bilateral visit, the devil lies in the details actually. Because if you see, you know, there are two things that actually caught my eye. One is, of course, the river water data, you know, sharing agreement. Now, that's something that's been a bit of a problem even between India and Bangladesh, even during the Hasina regime, and that is something that Bangladesh and China seem to be, you know, moving forward on, whereas with India, that seems to be largely on the back burner. Even though, and one more thing to, you know, sort of touch upon is that it's not as if Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina did not visit China. Even she did. But what seems to be the sense that one seems to be getting is that India was still very reassured about India's strategic interests, even with that visit. But in the current scenario, perhaps it would be a little more discomforting for those watching the India-Bangladesh relations space. Apart from that, another thing that seems to have stood out is this whole, you know, exchange of patients or medical facilities, I beg your pardon, for those from Bangladesh in China. And apparently, hospitals are going to be designated in Kunming for Bangladeshi patients, and we know a lot of Bangladeshi patients travel to India for treatment. A lot of them travel not just to Kolkata, but also to cities like, you know, Bengaluru, Hyderabad, and, you know, other places in southern India for treatment. So those are things also that perhaps one sees that China seems to be making also inroads in those spaces. And till now, largely Bangladeshi patients would travel to India, but there seems to be now hospitals designated in Kunming, and also China setting up hospitals in Bangladesh, and also the fact that the river water sharing data agreement is something that again is something that has been a part of India-Bangladesh ties as well, but China seems to be moving in on that as well. So yes, there is a lot of concern in that space. For those who watch that space, these seem to be you know, moves that China is making. Also, a concession on debt is something that is also being talked about. So all of these things are on the table, and this is why those who watch India-Bangladesh ties closely seem to be viewing these developments with some amount of concern.
Saurabh, Bangladesh also has very large amounts of Chinese investments. In fact, China is the largest investor in Bangladesh. At a time when the country needs money, it needs money to restore everything from law and order to its export industry. It's quite natural it will lean more to China. And given the fact that Mohammed Yunus's government has mainstreamed radical elements, has elements in his government which are almost anti-India, what are we really looking at going forward here?
Well, one got a sense from the Indian Foreign Secretary's visit to Dhaka that perhaps, the ties that really have nosedived, and you mentioned, at the top of that is, of course, the demand for the extradition of the former Prime Minister of Bangladesh, Sheikh Hasina. But there seemed to be a sense that other areas of the partnership, and the Bangladesh partnership, like we've been reporting on NDTV, is not just one issue. There are multiple issues and multiple sectors where this partnership takes place. For example, a few days ago, even when it comes to waterways, we had ships sailing, two places in Assam through Bangladesh waters. So it was seen as a step that perhaps the other sectors were not going to be affected so much. In India's strategic interests, perhaps there would be, still salvage. But with these developments, many believe that it seems that the situation, whereas which includes India-Bangladesh ties and the strategic interests of India, seem to be in a slightly more complicated territory at this point, especially with this visit and the announcements that are being made during this visit.
All right, Saurabh Gupta, really appreciate you taking out the time to speak to us about a story that's so important for India's strategic calculus. Let's also now get in Ashok Sajjanar, former ambassador, joining me on the broadcast. Good to have you, sir. Talk to us about the cozying up of ties between Bangladesh and China at a time when Mohammed Yunus's government is making absolutely no efforts or limited efforts to restore the long-standing ties between India and Bangladesh.
Yes, thank you very much, Gauri, for having me on your program. You're very right, that this visit by Tawhid Hussain to Beijing and his interactions with his counterpart Wang Yi, they need to be watched with keen interest. You see, under normal circumstances, there would not have been any anxiety, if any of our neighbors are having ties with China. After all, China is the second largest economy in the world, $17 trillion economy, etc. And so, it would be somewhat natural for countries to have economic relations, vibrant economic ties with that country. Even Sheikh Hasina, as your correspondent Saurabh Gupta was saying, she had, her government also had strong relations. In fact, defense relations also with China. But of course, there we were assured that our core security interests and strategic interests would not be compromised, that they would be taken fully safeguarded and they would be taken care of. Now, as far as the Mohammed Yunus government is concerned, that has come under a big question mark. And we know that as far as China is concerned, it is always fishing in troubled waters as far as our neighbors are concerned. It's trying to, the very strong connect between India, cultural, historical, linguistic, people-to-people ties between these countries and India. It has always trying to muddy the waters. And also the huge, the imperatives of interdependency that are there. Because we have seen in terms of the support that India has provided to Bangladesh, more than $8 billion, under the Neighborhood First policy. We have provided non-reciprocal, generous support, economic support in every sense. And we were assured during Sheikh Hasina's tenure of about 15 years from 2019 till August last year, that our, as far as our borders are concerned, as far as Indian extremists are concerned, they would not be given refuge. So that is under a question mark. So we really have to watch
this space very, very closely
Yes.
and take action accordingly as the situation develops.
And it also comes at a time when Bangladesh desperately needs funds. You know, its economy is going through a really bad patch. Its biggest money spinner, which is the textile industry, is facing a major slowdown. Its law and order is completely out of control. All that requires money, requires funds. How much do you expect China to swoop in to take greater control and leverage of the Bangladeshi economy?
Okay, there are two things here, Gauri. You know, number one, China has deep pockets. And that is why we've seen, whether it is under its Belt and Road Initiative or its other programs, it has gone out of its way. You look at Pakistan, you know, where its strategic interests are involved, then, you know, basically those are strategic investments. They are not basically governed by economic considerations as to how, you know, certain projects are going to make profits or not. So it has the capacity. Number two is, as we saw in the case of Sri Lanka in 22, that it is not going to sort of, you know, go out of its way to help out a nation with very generous support. You would recall that in 22, it was India which had to come to the support, which had to come to the aid of Sri Lanka, although it was facing shortages, whether it was of energy, whether it was of fossil fuels, medicine, food, every sense of the word. It was, you know, it didn't have any foreign exchange reserves because, number one, COVID-19 pandemic had hit it hard. And then number two, in 22, we had the Russia-Ukraine conflict. Yes. And a couple of its industry, whether it is tourism or export of tea and textiles, those had suffered. It was India that came to its support even before the IMF had come to its support.
Exactly.
So we'll really have to wait and see as to how China also assesses. I think under the circumstances that China will come to some extent, you know, try to bail it out from its very precarious situation that
Yes.
Bangladesh finds itself in. But I think a long-term strategy, I would still imagine, you know, like you've seen Sri Lanka, you've seen Maldives, you've seen even now Afghanistan.
All that China will do, Ambassador Sajjanar, is give loans, no write-offs, no grants, no aids, no write-offs, only more loans.
And exact is, you know, its consideration, exact its price from there. There are no free meals as far as, no free lunches as far as China is concerned. So
absolutely. You said that right, Ambassador Sajjanar. I'm completely out of time. Thank you so much for taking out the time to decode
always a pleasure.
What's happening in Bangladesh. On that note, we slip into a very short break. On the other side, we find out why the 4 Quad countries have reaffirmed their commitment to a free and open Indo-Pacific and what this means for China.
Quidco gives you cashback every time you shop on over 5,000 brands. It always pays to Quidco. Sign up and start saving today. Visit quidco.com.
With retirement round the corner, I want to spend more time with my family and less time worrying about the numbers. Which reminds me.
Welcome to British Seniors, the UK's #1 rated provider of over 50s life insurance.
Hi, I'd like a quick quote.
No problem. We're proud to offer our seniors lifetime guarantee. With 100% of claims having been paid, we guarantee your premiums will never go up and that you'll speak to one of our specialists in the UK. UK residents aged 50 to 80 are guaranteed to be accepted. Depending on your age, your loved ones can get a cash payout up to £10,000.
And that money could help with funeral costs or even as a gift for the grandkids. I'll do it.
Plus, when you sign up, you'll receive a £135 gift card and free 24/7 GP advice and health services.
You got them all right. That's amazing.
Be proud to protect your loved ones with British Seniors. To get a free quote today, call our UK team on 0800 977 5808 or visit britishseniors.co.uk.
If you're homeless, you're never safe.
Tonight, too many young people like Kira will be at risk, right here on our streets. But you could help a young person find safety and begin a new future by sponsoring a room at Centrepoint.
It's more than a room. You get real support and training to help you get your life back on track.
Please search Centrepoint Room online today or call 0808 281 8001 and be the turning point for a young person like Kira. Thank you.
Love a good deal? Try free to play Deal or No Deal, only at Tombola. There's up to £1,000 to be won. Get that good deal feeling. Open for fun.
I'll fix him, love. Poor pet. Just shows you never know what's going to happen. Which reminds me, I need to protect the life we've built. That's why I'm looking into smart family life insurance.
Hi, I'd like a quick quote, please. OK. You can choose a benefit amount up to £750,000, depending on your age. If you're a UK resident aged 18 to 64, you can apply with just a few health and lifestyle questions. For £250,000 of cover, the price starts at just £14.77 a month.
That's less than I thought. And it could help my husband with the mortgage.
Just like families, not all life insurance is the same. That's why we offer the Smart Family Guarantee.
That's good to know.
You'll also receive a 100% advance in the event of terminal illness and 10% cash back on your first year's premiums. That's the Smart Cashback. Plus, you'll also get your choice of a £125 gift card.
Protect the life you've built the smart way. To get a free quote today, call our specialist UK team on 0800 977 5753 or visit smartinsurance.co.uk.
Those kind of roles, I mean, how
On India Global, we now turn our attention to the first Quad meeting. On his first full day in office, US Secretary of State Marco Rubio hosted the first Quad meeting of foreign ministers with Australia, India and Japan. This was the first major diplomatic session of the Quad since Donald Trump's return to the White House. In a joint statement, the four countries reaffirmed their commitment to a free and open Indo-Pacific, emphasizing the protection of democratic values and territorial integrity. They also shared and issued a sharp warning against any attempts to disrupt the region's stability, aimed directly at China's expansionist activities. Rubio also held one-on-one talks with each of the foreign ministers. Indian Foreign Minister Dr. Jaishankar highlighted the significance of the timing, noting that the meeting took place just hours after the new administration took office, highlighting the importance and significance of Quad in the foreign policies of its member countries. Reports suggest that Trump officials are planning another Quad meeting at the White House very soon. All right, let's get in Mr. Andrew joining me from Hong Kong to talk about what this means. He's an international independent China strategist, and I hope that your views will be independent, not reflective of Beijing's stance. Mr. Andrew, the fact is that Quad is going to be important in Trump administration. It was held, the first meeting was held just 24 hours after it was sworn in. That indicates that the Quad may be having a sharper focus against China going forward.
Well, of course, China is being held by both parties in the United States as an existential threat against the so-called American-led world order. But of course, with the advent of Trump 2.0, what some of his ambitions on other countries' territories like Canada or Greenland or Panama, in the calls into question the so-called American-led order. But be that as it may, of course, the Asia-Pacific is a very important conduit for countries bordering this waterworks. And of course, America has always have an oversized influence and interest in the Asia-Pacific, and of course relies on its allies, the Quad members, to do some of the heavy lifting. Now, the fact remains that, of course, the China's territorial
Mr. Andrew, are you talking about?
Claims.
What heavy lifting are you talking about? This mechanism talks about supply of vaccines. This mechanism talks about disaster recovery. What heavy lifting are you talking? The fact is that maybe the Quad framework may now change and reshape itself to become a much powerful, stronger mechanism to deal with China. Is that looking like a reality to you right now?
I don't think so. First of all, I think that President Trump is very war adverse. Of course, his cabinet is much more compliant cabinet compared with his Trump 1.0. So what dictates the foreign policy is not so much the Secretary of State, but Trump himself largely. But you can see that on day one, he's withdrawing from the world institutions like WTO and the Paris Agreement on the climate. But also, even before he took office, the first global leader he chose to speak by phone and request the speaking by phone was President Xi. That was before his inaugural, suggesting that he probably wanted to recalibrate his relationship with China. And I don't think he wants to up the ante on China. But as far as China is concerned, the freedom of navigation, in fact, is in very much China's national interest, because China depends on the openness of the sea waterway
Okay,
for
Mr.
its
Andrew,
trade, for its international trade.
very
and
rich
import
for
of
somebody to
materials.
talk about freedom of navigation from China's point of view, given the attacks that Philippines has faced, Indonesia has faced, the entire ASEAN countries, most of them have faced. But thank you for your time. Thank you for speaking to me. We agree to disagree on that issue. All right, shifting focus now, the latest from cricket. After an entire controversy emerged over Indian players not wearing jerseys with Pakistan's name on it, the BCCI has clarified that they are now going to follow ICC's guidelines, wear the official logo, which includes Pakistan's name on Indian jerseys. Let's get in Osama, my colleague, who's been tracking this space closely, to talk to us about what this means, the implications of this. The whole day, Osama, we were hearing that BCCI is not going to relent, but it looks like, after all, there are going to be Pakistan written, inscribed over the jerseys of men in blue.
Well, as far as the ICC Champions Trophy is concerned, one controversy died down, that is India not traveling to Pakistan, and in turn, their match is taking place in Dubai. Another controversy emerged. There were multiple reports that BCCI has in fact refused that Indian team players will not be wearing the jersey with the official logo that has the host nation, in this particular case, Pakistan's name on it. But the BCCI secretary, Mr. Saikia, he has now clarified BCCI's stance, saying that India will follow all the ICC guidelines, including the clothing guideline, which says that all the participating nations have to wear the official logo, and that also has the host nation's name on it, and in this particular case, Pakistan. So that controversy that has been going on for the entire day, the BCCI has come out and clarified. Remember, there have been multiple controversies related to the ICC Champions Trophy. One of them is the pre-celebration part of it, where all the team captains, they are supposed to be in Pakistan for the photo op and all the formalities that leads up to the actual tournament. And Rohit Sharma, the Indian captain, the BCCI has said that he will not be traveling. Instead, the BCCI had also requested the ICC to shift those entire, pre-match formalities to Dubai, but the Pakistan Cricket Board has not agreed to it. As far as the clothing guideline is concerned, remember, in all the past ICC tournaments that were held, say for example in India, the last ODI World Cup or the T20I World Cup, which happened in Dubai, all the nations, they wore the name of India on their particular jerseys, and that has been followed since that time. And this is what the confusion was all about. The BCCI has now come out and said that, look, there is no confusion. Team India will be following all the protocols that ICC has set, and this also includes wearing the host's name on their jerseys.
All right, we leave it there, Osama. Thanks much for bringing that story into perspective for our viewers. All right, we're speaking about clothing. Well, let's now take a look at this report that tells you all about the Milan Men's Fashion Week and which were the men who put their most fashionable foot forward. Take a look.
Setting trends and redefining masculinity. For the upcoming season, the Milan Men's Fashion Week began in the Italian fashion capital. Even though some may have described the Fashion Week schedule as low-key and cold this year, one big trend that dominated the runway was the mob husband aesthetic. This trend is the counter to the viral mob wife trend, where vintage coats, gaudy jewelry, and large dark glasses flaunted an ultra-flamboyant, rich, and too glam to give a damn attitude. The mob husband trend takes inspiration from the likes of The Godfather, The Sopranos, and the Italian designer duo Dolce & Gabbana flashed this trend as they presented their collection titled Paparazzi, tapping into the glitz and glamour of Hollywood celebrity culture. Moving away from the sharp-tailored emphasis of the recent seasons, the designer duo embraced the 60s swagger of La Dolce Vita with relaxed, flashy looks. At Armani, the mob husband trend got a bit more serious, with luxe velvet suits and razored pinstriped, finished with leopard loafers, as though the audience were watching the models through a smoke screen of a vintage jazz bar. Indian designer Dhruv Kapoor took a different route, showcasing co-ed collection with strong influence of impeccable Indian craftsmanship and the rich color palette, mixing the streets of India with the Italian promenades. Last but not the least, the Fashion Week also had a sweet moment when Jordan Bowen and Lucas Marchetto, the designers from the label Jordan Luca, turned their runway into their wedding altar. Family and friends walked the runway, showcasing their new lines, and later cheered them on as the duo tied the knot, quoting, "Love needs to be seen and seen in style." This is Mayank Chaudhary for NDTV.
All right, 50 years after it came, Godfather is still the most stylish statement for men. All that note, thanks so much for watching this edition of India Global with me, Gauri Dwivedi.
I'm a simple man, but now I'm in my 50s, things are getting a little more complicated. Retirement's peeking around the corner, and I wanted to make sure my family would be really looked after if anything happened to me. That's why I decided to learn more about over 50s life insurance from Cover Today. They're the only over 50s life insurer with no waiting period. Unlike other insurers who could make you wait up to 2 years, with Cover Today, you're fully covered from day one. And you're covered for the whole of your life. Plus, unlike other things in life, the price never goes up. Learning more can be simpler. Go online or talk to their friendly UK team in just one phone call.
Cover Today are the only over 50s life insurer with no waiting period and no annoying trips to the doctors either.
Now I'm with Cover Today, I can get on with something much more interesting.
Plus, you get your choice of a £125 gift card. To find out more about Cover Today, call our friendly UK team on 0808 143 4774 or visit covertoday.co.uk.
Time's up, fad diets. Life's too short to only eat grapefruit, hard-boiled eggs, cabbage soup. Ugh. Ditch the diet shakes, measuring tapes, and vibrating plates, and break free from fad diets with Voi. With its combination of clinically proven medication, personalised health app, and one-to-one coaching, join the weight loss revolution today at joinvoi.com.
This baby bear is terrified, torn from her mother's paws at a tender age. They will force her to live alone in a tiny, filthy cage, like so many bears driven mad by loneliness, rubbing their wounds raw against the bars, suffering cruelly day after day, year after year, just for people's entertainment. Four Paws found little Potap crammed into a tiny, squalid cage. He'd been there for almost 9 years, lonely and isolated. There are so many more young bears who need your help. Please call 0800 038 0496 or text BEAR5 to 70800 to give £3 a month via your mobile phone. Every month, your £3 could help us free more bears. Help give bears the veterinary care they need and help them live happy, healthy lives. in the freedom of our natural sanctuaries. Please call 0800 038 0496 or text BEAR5 to 70800 to give £3 a month via your mobile phone and help 4 Paws free bears from agonising torture. Please, don't leave these bears to suffer for a single day more.
On our highways, a growing concern. In a dramatic incident, 5 girls escaped from a juvenile home in Visakhapatnam. All that caught on camera. The girls have alleged mistreatment and abuse at that juvenile home. That last headline is our first up story this evening. Some dramatic pictures from the Visakhapatnam town of 5 girls escaping from a juvenile home. The girls accused the home of mistreatment and abuse, and they were not allowed to go home and hence escaped. Those pictures coming to you from Visakhapatnam city. These details just came in a short while ago. My colleague Uma Sudhir has the latest.
Yeah, those dramatic visuals that we see of these young girls actually scaling the wall of the juvenile home in Visakhapatnam to escape, that is something that has caught the attention of not just the authorities but the media as well. And the concern is that 5 of these girls who scaled the walls and come out, they are alleging that they were ill-treated or mistreated inside the home. One of the girls, in fact, says that I'm not being allowed to go home, and the authorities or the people in charge of the home are saying that my mother is going to sell me, and emotionally she asked whether her own mother would actually sell her. But the fact is that very often in these kind of juvenile homes, you do have people under multiple cases, usually POSCO victims, who are brought in there, and very often many of them are also desperate to go home. They are young people, and we have seen multiple instances in the past as well where they would have been shifted to the home for reasons of safety, for keeping them safe, and yet these youngsters, with the desperation to want to go home, do indulge in these kind of actions. And so escape from juvenile homes is not uncommon, I should say. But yes, the Home Minister has reacted to this, and she has said that there will be a report that she has asked for from the District Collector and the Police Commissioner as well. And she wants to know what was going on inside the home which triggered this kind of a reaction from the girls.
Dramatic pictures also remind us and re-emphasize the focus needed on juvenile homes, which is a nationwide issue. Of course, those pictures coming to you from Visakhapatnam, where those 5 girls scaled that wall with barbed wires, jumped over, escaped from that juvenile home, accusing abuse and mistreatment there. Well, now to our shifting focus to our special focus this evening, the continuing face-off over the UGC draft guidelines that states like Tamil Nadu and Kerala have taken the lead and strongly opposed and demanded withdrawal. The core objection is over proposed changes to the process to appoint vice-chancellors, as the draft guidelines curb the state government's powers to appoint search committees and vice-chancellors. DMK chief and Tamil Nadu Chief Minister M.K. Stalin had taken the lead in the battle against the centre on those draft guidelines and has alleged that it violates federal principles and the interests of the state. Kerala too, remember, has taken a similar stand, and other opposition rule states are likely to follow suit. Stalin reiterated his position today, asking why governors should be chancellors and why the centre should have the powers to decide on vice-chancellors, when he asks it's the state governments that pay the salaries and administer the institutions. Listen in. So is this another proof that Vice-Chancellor appointments to top institutions is more a political and ideological assertion rather than being about academics, education and interests of the institutions? Joining me this evening, a distinguished panel of academics who have diverse political views and are at the helm of noted institutions. Professor Sanjeev Tiwari of the Maharaja Agarsen College, Dr. Furqan Qamar, former Vice-Chancellor of the University of Rajasthan, currently with Jamia Millia Islamia, and Dr. Sandeep Shastri, Vice President of the Nite Education Trust. My first question to you, Dr. Furqan, the core reason for the political tussle over the power to appoint VCs is because the post has become more about political control rather than about merit or education.
You may be right. It may be more about the political turf, but I think it is largely because of the lack of coordination and communication. We should remember that India is a union of states, and higher education is in the concurrent list. Both the union government and the state governments can enact legislations. And we should remember that the union list includes coordination and maintenance of standards. It is not about impositions of standards. So I think UGC has been going overboard. They should have been consulting the states. They should have been contacting them, communicating with them, bringing them on board, and this is possible. And we are seeing that over the past so many years, there have been issues like this. Appointment of vice chancellors is just one of them. Before the implementation of NEP, we saw a similar thing. So it is lack of coordination and communication, and it is more about impositions. Remember, Raghav, one thing, that out of 1,100 universities that we have in our country, only 54 are established by the Central Act. The rest, or maybe another 85, are the institutions deemed to be universities. The rest are state universities established by state laws. Now, no change can be effective unless these acts are amended. And unless you take states into confidence, they are not going to amend their acts. And as a result, what will happen is that these decisions would never be implemented, and ultimately universities would be at a losing ends. For example, they will be in limbo. Now, people would say that, okay, you are not following UGC regulation, and the state says that I don't amend the legislations. So increase the communication, don't impose, take them into confidence, take rational decision making, don't issue too many regulations too frequently.
Professor Sanjeev Tiwari, Dr. Furqan making a very important point, saying this is more about coordination. The center and states should work together in ensuring that the interests of institutions are kept as the prime focus. Instead, is a political ideological tussle and assertion of political power becoming the reason for this tussle between states and central governments?
It's not basically regarding the ideological imposition of the center over the state. Basically, it's one of the draft of the new UGC regulation which came out on the 6th of January this month. Still, the different stakeholders, they are having the time of entire 1 month to give their responses, and on the basis of those responses which will be received by the UGC, this draft resolution will be finalized and it will be approved. I think that it's very prior place or time to react on this. As far as the appointment of the vice chancellors are concerned and the power of the governor or the chancellor is concerned, it is not new. This tussle has been taking place since the days of the Jayalalitha. As far as Tamil Nadu is concerned, at that time in the center, the Congress was in the power, and that time the governor's powers were taken away by the state legislative assembly. Similar was the thing in the different other states, like in the state of Kerala or in the state of West Bengal, where the different sort of or the different ideologies are there in the, at the center and in the state. I think that as far as the partiality is concerned, impartiality is concerned, the quality of education in the higher education is concerned, this is more and more concerned of the UGC, and that is why the UGC is making the regular draft or regulations for the purpose of improving the quality of the education and the appointment of the vice chancellors. Of course, there are certain issues which could be resolved in the coming months after getting the response from the different stakeholders like the teachers, the students, and even the individual teachers' body. They are also responding to that. It's very, unfortunate that the different political parties, they are trying to create it a question of the federal question and the struggle between the center and state.
No, while you say that, the argument, Professor Sandeep Shastri, that a state like Tamil Nadu is putting out is that this draft guidelines technically takes away the power of the state government to appoint vice chancellors, and the governor should act only on the instructions of the cabinet, and that's the federal principle. Stalin even asks, when state governments are paying the salaries, why should the center have a role in choosing the vice chancellor? Where do you weigh in on this debate?
Veera, the most recent controversy is linked to developments that have taken place for quite some time now, especially in states where a different party is in power at the center and the states. This has become a huge controversy because of the fact that governors have been appointees of the central government and governors have been acting on the aid and advice of the center rather than the aid and advice of the Council of Ministers in the state, especially on matters of formation of the selection committees and the like. Therefore, you have the case of Tamil Nadu where many universities don't have vice chancellors. This is also true of Karnataka. So that's point number one. It is caught in the tussle between the center and the state with regard to who should control. My second point is this, Veera, that an important institution like a university, an important institution of higher education, is being caught in the crossfire of politics and political factors. And I think it's an open secret that political factors and political considerations today define and decide who should become the vice chancellor of a university. And third and last, Veera, I would plead very strongly for a non-political process in the appointment of vice chancellors. Even Stalin calls or talks about we need to control the process. I think nobody should control the process. We are looking at the best people in academics to manage the universities, and this should be done by a committee of experts who have nothing to do or have no and are not appointed for political purposes. That, I think, is what will rescue the leadership of universities from political control.
Absolutely, point taken. I have very limited time, just about a minute left on the show now. Professor Sanjeev Tiwari, very briefly, in 30 seconds, do you see this confrontation intensifying, or do you believe that there could be greater coordination between the two sides, as Dr. Furqan is saying there must be?
Of course, there is certain mandates given to the UGC, and what the UGC is doing, it has already been mandated by the Parliament of the country. As far as the coordination is concerned, of course, coordination is required between the center and state. But trying to write the state governments to pass the resolution where the non-BJP state governments are there, like Delhi, Himachal Pradesh, Karnataka, Jharkhand, Jammu and Kashmir, Punjab, Telangana, Bengal, and Kerala. What it shows? It shows that somebody wants to politicize the issues of this appointment.
Dr. Furqan, last point from you, last word to you.
No, I will say the things are otherwise. It is the opposition states which are asserting, and it is the other states which are ruled by the same dispensation by which the center is being ruled are succumbing or yielding to the pressure. I think the role given to University Grants Commission is to coordinate and maintain standards. Nowhere it says that they should unilaterally improve. And it is the erosion of the confidence and the trust that is leading to these kinds of situations, which is not good for higher education and not good for the nation.
On that point, on that note, it's a very important note. We'll have to end this conversation, but we'll keep a focus on this issue, which has been simmering and blowing up for a while now. We'll take a very short break on the Southern View this evening, but when we come back, we'll have our focus on road safety.
Join us for our winter sale and get 6 months half price. With an unlimited SIM from £13 a month for the first 6 months. Don't miss out. Go unlimited today. Visit us in store or search 3. Life needs a big network.
Time's up, fad diets. Life's too short to only eat grapefruit. Hard-boiled eggs, cabbage soup. Ugh. Ditch the diet shakes, measuring tapes, and vibrating plates. And break free from fad diets with Voi. With its combination of clinically proven medication, personalised health app, and one-to-one coaching, join the weight loss revolution today at joinvoi.com.
Our first year as a family flew by. And now, I want to make sure he'll be financially protected for all his birthdays to come. That's why I'm calling Smart Insurance.
Hi, how can I help?
Hi, I'd like a quick quote for family life insurance.
OK, you can choose a benefit amount up to £750,000 depending on your age.
That's great.
If you're a UK resident aged 18 to 64, you can apply with just a few health and lifestyle questions. For £250,000 of cover, the price starts at just £14.77 a month.
That's less than I thought. And could help my wife pay off the mortgage.
And with our Smart Family Guarantee, you'll have peace of mind.
That's good to know.
You'll also receive a 100% advance in the event of terminal illness and 10% cashback on your first year's premiums. That's the Smart Cashback. Plus, you get your choice of a £125 gift card.
Protect the life you've built the smart way. To get a free quote today, call our specialist UK team on 0808 141 5855 or visit smartinsurance.co.uk.
As a Marie Curie nurse, I help people spend their final moments at home with their loved ones. But I can only be there if people go out and collect for Marie Curie.
When you collect for the Great Daffodil Appeal, you'll help us provide expert care that eases pain at the end of life, whatever the illness. It's so easy to join in. Just call 0800 144 5564 or search Marie Curie Collect.
We really need more people to collect this year.
Zoe has completely changed the way I think about food. Getting older, I've realised that what I eat makes a massive difference. With Zoe, my test results help tailor my advice. It's like having a nutritionist in my pocket.
Go to zoe.com and get started today.
Now I'm retired, I can spend more time with my grandson. I'm proud of him and want to help any way I can. Which reminds me,
welcome to British Seniors, the UK's #1 rated provider of over 50s life insurance.
Hi, I'd like a quick quote.
No problem. We're proud to offer our seniors lifetime guarantee. With 100% of claims having been paid, we guarantee your premiums will never go up and that you'll speak to one of our specialists in the UK.
Well, that's good to know.
UK residents aged 50 to 80 are guaranteed to be accepted. Depending on your age, your loved ones can get a cash payout up to £10,000.
And that money can help with my funeral costs or even be used as a gift. I'll do it.
Plus, when you sign up, you'll receive a £135 gift card and free 24/7 GP advice and health services.
Thanks, Mum, for everything.
Be proud to protect your loved ones with British Seniors. To get a free quote today, call our UK team on 0800 158 5552 or visit britishseniors.co.uk.
Kickstart your year and hit refresh on your home with EE Broadband for just $29.99 a month and nothing to pay up front. Our ultra-reliable full fiber means you can stream endless music, go all out on gaming, and browse online for the things you love. It's all powered by BT, and we'll handle the switch for you. It's easier than ever before. No wonder broadband switchers choose EE. Hurry, ends Thursday.
Hi.
Hi, I'm Gemini.
What do I do?
Well, we can have a conversation.
So I just talk to you?
And I can ask you anything. Of course.
Can I ask about cars?
Sure.
Football?
I love talking football. I can also help with things like brainstorming, explaining something you don't quite understand, or even just chatting about.
People are sitting on the top of a truck and traveling. So even if the driver had to apply brakes somehow, many would have fallen anyways. So we are risking their lives knowingly, intentionally. It's understandable that those people they cannot afford safe transport, but that is the responsibility of the government to ensure that such travel trips are not allowed. So that's failing on all fronts.
So it's multiple issues you're saying, Harman. You're saying it's multiple issues. One is on the nature of roads, the design. 2 is no safety precautions. 3 is also about the drivers and the driving in cold weather, because both these accidents have happened early in the morning. We don't know if it was driver fatigue as well, very briefly.
Yeah, that is the driver behavior. That is also an important aspect because as we have been talking about the Decade of Action for Road Safety, which started in 2011 to 2020, with the United Nations mandate to reduce the number of fatalities by 50%. We could not achieve that till 2020. Then it was done from 2021 to 2030. We are already in the mid of it, and the number of road crashes and deaths are still increasing. So all these basic things which should have been placed, we are still not adhering to those. So till it is a scientifically proven thing that we should have proper guard railings on a national highway because maximum fatalities take place on national highway. So even if the human error is there, so the roads should be forgiving. That's the standard punchline, which is used everywhere but not implemented.
Right, that's an important point that you make there. Even if the human being makes a mistake, the road must be forgiving at least as much as possible. Thanks very much there, Harman. We'll keep a focus on road safety, but now to a murder in broad daylight caught on camera in Hanamakonda city of Telangana. On your screens, a middle-aged man, Rajkumar, is repeatedly being stabbed by another man, Venkateshwarlu, in a busy marketplace before a crowd of people. All those around were mute spectators. Well, some did try to help the victim by calling an ambulance, and most were busy filming the murder. Reports say it was the result of a fight over a relationship with a woman. Both the victim and the accused are auto drivers. But this incident, perhaps another reminder of what's becoming a growing social concern, where accidents or crimes where people instinctively and insensitively reach out to capture it on camera and forward it on social media rather than try and stop the crime or help a victim. Well, now to a major accident that occurred at Paranda railway station in Maharashtra's Jalgaon district. 11 dead and several injured. It's being reported that rumors of a fire on the Pushpak Express led to a panic among some passengers who jumped out of the train. Some of the passengers were struck by the oncoming Karnataka Express, which was passing on the other track. The situation escalated after an alarm chain was pulled on that Pushpak Express, leading to those deaths. Extremely unfortunate incident there, a tragic incident for the railways there. That news just coming in a short while ago about the deaths there in Jalgaon in Maharashtra. Well, we'll keep a close watch on that accident as well. But that's all we have time for on the Southern View this evening. News and updates continue right here on NDTV. Thanks for watching.
Hello, from interesting tech startups to industry-leading companies, politics, sports, culture, curry, cricket. Oh, there's so much to talk about. Like me, if you too thrive on interesting conversations, this is a show you cannot miss. Watch this space to know more about all matters and all people that make Britain what it is today. Out of Britain, with me, Radhika Iyer.
Joining us today is somebody whose journey in Indian cinema is almost parallel to independent India's journey. Almost 7-8 decades that she has acted, directed, censored Indian cinema. She has been a vital part, a vital cog of India's journey through all these 7-8 decades. Asha Parekh, welcome to NDTV.
Hello.
Thank you very much for joining us.
Asha ji, you were part of the golden era of Indian cinema, worked with the best filmmakers, iconic actors. How do you look at your own journey?
Well, it's been a very long journey, and I enjoyed being where I was, and the adulation of the fans was really very great, and I enjoyed it.
And more than the enjoyment, you contributed immensely to the growth of Indian cinema through, the years that it was actually growing up.
Yeah, it was a golden era, I would say, and we had lovely music, we had lovely lyrics, very good directors, very good cameramen. Not that we don't have them now, but at that time it was a different thing altogether.
And 1960s and 1970s, there was a lot of larger than life, depiction in cinema. How did you see the transition? I mean, your own journey and the transition of Indian cinema.
Well, the films which I did were happy-go-lucky cinema.
Like you.
Yes, and the transition which has taken place has been good, I think so. We are coming out with more realistic films, and sometimes the films are not good because they don't have a good story, a good script. That's what I feel. In our times, the dialogues were very beautiful. I remember Main Tulsi Tere Aangan Ki. Dr. Saab had written such fabulous dialogues that I think it was one of the best films of my life.
And Kati Patang?
Yes, Kati Patang also. That was Gulshan Nanda's story. And it was a little bit of a shift from my glamour image into doing some serious roles.
And then breaking of taboos, you were depicting a subject which was very taboo during those days.
Yes.
So, from being this glam queen to those kind of roles, I mean, how did you dabble through all those genres?
Well, it wasn't very difficult, but as such, people thought that I was just a glamour girl and not a good artist. So I had to prove myself that no, I can act. And that started with Do Badan. Not from Kati Patang, but Do Badan.
But tell us, Asha ji, your journey in Indian cinema is almost like, 7 decades plus journey. See, India also changed a lot, Bollywood changed a lot.
Yes.
How do you see the transition of Indian cinema, transition of India as a country where we are moving in the direction that we are moving, as both as a iconic participant in that journey and then as an observer who can today have the luxury of watching it from a distance?
Well, as you people have come out with the National of the Year, it's a fabulous idea, and that shows how much India has, gone ahead. We are doing fabulously. And films, as I said right now, that it has taken a transition. We are having good films coming, good artists coming. You see, what was that, before we used to do 4 films together. These days, the actors do only 1 film at a time. So that is a very good thing because you are just concentrating on 1 film. We were doing 4 films. Sometimes we were doing 2 shifts, 7 to 2 and 2 to 10. So that is the thing which has been very good for the industry. That's what I feel.
So there was no work-life balance for you?
No.
Actor of the Year. By the way, my dear friends, probably I am one of the first ones in the history of NDTV to have this rare, proud honor of announcing and honoring as in the place of a real hero to a reel of my own movie, Shrikant. Without a further ado, with great admiration, love and due respect, the best actor of the year goes to Shri Rajkumar Rao. Please come on to the stage.
Ladies and gentlemen, Rajkumar Rao's versatility, dedication to meaningful cinema and consistent delivery of powerful performances continued in 2024. His recent roles in Shrikant, Mr. and Mrs. Mahi, Stree 2 and Vicky Vidya Ka. Hello and welcome to the special conversation here on NDTV. We are starting a new series where we will be talking about the expectations of top policy makers, economists, industrialists, startup owners and citizens from the budget of Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman as she presents the first budget of NDA, the first full budget of NDA on 1st of February. Joining me now is Sujit Balla, former Executive Director of IMF. Mr. Balla, really appreciate your time. Over the last few weeks, sir, extensive consultations have happened with Prime Minister, Finance Minister in attendance. Of course, these were closed-door consultations. Tell me about this entire policy-making process for budgets, and is that the practice world over?
Well, this is, you mentioned closed door, has been closed door. It was closed door in 1800 and it's closed door in 2024. We need to, there's a good talk, credible talk of India being Viksit Bharat in 2047. What I would ask is why and how are closed-door consultations for the budget, for major economic policies, the way to go for those aspiring to be a developed country. There is no developed country. Matter of fact, very few countries follow this ancient policy-making system that we have in India today. So my first request is that we should do away with this kind of budget making. It only helps the policy makers, that is the bureaucrats making a policy, and helps TV audiences to which you cater.
So how is it really done in developed economies? I mean, do these consultations happen in open rooms with full camera view, absolutely. In full public view?
No, I mean, that's why they don't have this kind of tamasha.
Okay.
You show me one country that has the tamasha. The budget gets made, it gets presented in parliament, end of story. There's no tamasha, there's no TV. That is, I have yet to see a TV, I have yet to see a budget presentation on TV in any other country, but only in India. So that's the first thing we need to do. It really is, let me ask a larger question to that. Why should budget making, especially on taxes, on spending, on freebies, be done in secret? Why should policy making be secret? So that's the first request I would like to make. And I've been making this over the years. I think the first time I made this request was about 25 years ago. Obviously, nobody's listening. But I do think the time has come now for decision making. Think back to the farm laws. Think back to any policy. Okay? What was the complaint? The complaint was that there wasn't adequate discussion before the policy was presented. I think there was. But the point was the discussion was all in private, closed door. So therefore, first principles first, please have open discussion of policies, then you present it in parliament.
Okay. What are your thoughts on the ideal tax structure for India? And do you think the current tax rates are conducive to promoting economic growth?
I think, look, everybody has been talking about a growth slowdown. And it is a sharp slowdown. And it is one that policymakers and economists don't have much of an explanation for. But it is serious. To have a decline of 2 percentage points to 3 percentage points in 2 years from your growth rate of about 8% to 5.3% is something to really worry about. So what are the reasons that this has happened? I think, look, first, the monetary policy has been very tight. And interest rates, real interest rates have been very high. Second, our fiscal policy has been very tight. Okay, this preoccupation with the fiscal deficit, let's think. If you reduce the fiscal deficit as the government is planning to do, what have you achieved? Or what will you do? Once the fiscal deficit goes down, will it bring inflation down? Oh, so you're telling me that food prices will be brought down if you bring fiscal deficit down. And food prices are the major contributor to inflation in India. So it doesn't help. Oh, are you telling me that our growth rate, the growth slowdown that we've got, will be accelerated if we brought the fiscal deficit down? Yes. More growth slowdown. So what is the age-old policy measure, Keynesian models, which we've been following for 80 years? When you want to expand the economy, you expand the fiscal deficit. You don't contract it further. So it doesn't achieve higher growth. It doesn't achieve lower inflation. So what is this preoccupation with the fiscal deficit? We need to bring it down. It's not an achievement. It's a negative mark on economic policy making.
Sir, do you think it is linked to urban consumption going down? Is that the reason? Or there is another view, Mr. Bhalla, that the global economic trends are also showing slowdown in major economies. Is that also impacting India's economic growth and fiscal policy?
No. First, that is a wrong interpretation. The IMF has just announced global growth will be higher this year than last year, and last year was higher than the year preceding. So it is not the case that there is a global slowdown. It is a case that global growth is not as high as it used to be in 2011, 2012, but it is expanding from, if you will, a low base. Second, you mention about urban consumption, what will get it to go up? And I mentioned about very high tax rates in India. India has one of the highest tax to GDP ratios in the world. And for personal consumption, our tax to GDP ratio, personal consumption, personal income taxes to GDP is about 3.9%. Very few countries in the world have this high level of personal income taxation. And our aggregate tax to GDP ratio is 19%. Korea has 19, US has 19. So they are about 15 times richer than us. So I think we need to rethink really for our tax policies and our expenditure policies. On the expenditure policies, we've got a lot, the tax comes in, we're collecting a lot of taxes. So what is the government, state governments and the central government? We keep talking about freebies, but we're licensing more freebie spending by increasing the taxation on the people. That's what,
Go ahead.
Yeah, so that is what needs to be corrected. One, as I said, if we had an open consultation process, this thing would come out in the open. Lots of people, I think, would support the view that we are taxing ourselves too much. There is no evidence that our tax to GDP ratio is correct or is low. It's very high. Second, this is what ails the Indian economy. So what else would it? This is Econ 101. Nothing, no rocket science. Forget no plain science. I mean, this is basic economics.
Okay. The new US administration of Donald Trump, this is Donald Trump 2.0 in Washington, D.C. Do you think any changes or decisions that will be made immediately by the new president will have a direct impact on India? And what are you watching out for? And what kind of impact are you sensing on the Indian economy?
Okay. So now you bring in Trump. In 2017, he cut tax rates in the US. And that is one of the reasons why the US continues to grow at a solid pace compared to all the comparator countries for the US, like Europe, Japan, etc. In 2019, we cut the corporate tax rate. And after that, the corporate taxes as a share of GDP has zoomed. Now, that is a lesson we need to get. So I think Trump is going to talk about cutting tax rates in the US. He already is. But from our side, we should cut tax rates because it is in our interest to do so, not because Trump says. So I think Trump is not important for what he says he will do for his country. For us, what is important is what is in the best interest of India. And Trump advocating lower taxes, we will then see the light and say, yes, lower tax rates help, and we will then be motivated more to cut tax rates.
My last question to you. What are the three things that you will tell the finance minister to do in this budget? Your wish list.
My wish list starts with tax reform, direct tax reform, not corporate taxes, direct tax reform, which is personal income taxes. So that has to be done. Second, interest rates are too high, and therefore the interest rates need to be cut. Third, since you asked for three, I will give you three, is we need to be much more open economy than we are today, which means tariff rates need to be cut. FDI needs to be encouraged, not shunned out as we've been doing. So cut taxes, cut interest rates, open up the economy. What else is left?
All right, Sujit Bhalla, thank you so much for your time here on NDTV, and we hope to connect with you on 1st of February after the budget is presented as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching NDTV Budget 2025. The first under Modi 3.0 is just around the corner, and in the course of the next few days, we will try to bring out multiple voices on the expectations of the salaried, tax-paying section of the society, the vast and growing middle class of the country. They want better jobs, better healthcare, more skilling and livelihood options, some relief from tax, and more importantly, a better quality of life. But there's one thing that every middle-class family dreams of: owning a house. How can housing be made more affordable for the middle class? Is the government doing enough? Is there a need for subsidies and incentives for first-time home buyers? Should home loans be made more accessible? What does an aspiring homeowner expect from Budget 2025? That's what we will try and understand tonight. Joining me is a panel of esteemed guests. We have Sanjay Boothreddy from UP RERA, which is the Real Estate Regulatory Authority. He's a chairperson there. Thank you so much. We have Sameer Jasuja, who's a founder and managing director of Prop Equity from Gurugram. We have Sanjay Srivastava, who's the strategic advisor, former CEO and board director, Mahindra World City. Thank you all of you for joining me on this broadcast. To you, Sanjay, first. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman's presentation of Budget 2025 on the 1st of February is being awaited for a lot of reasons. It's the first budget under the third term of the Modi government. There's a lot being talked about quality of life. The Prime Minister has been specifically talking about, the problems that urbanization, leads to. He's been talking about world-class cities. He's talking about middle class. That was one of his first speeches, once the NDA came to power. What are the certain real estate demands of the industry that could drive growth but also benefit home buyers?
See, the best part now is that post mid of 2023, the real estate boom is again on the positive side, and there is a boom. So for a period starting from 17 and then in 2020 because of COVID, etc., there were lots of problems in the real estate sector, and there was a lot of stock available, but the demand side was low. But now the sector being on the positive side and on the growth has again started. So there's a lot of new projects also which are coming up. Last year in Uttar Pradesh itself, including the NCR area, that is Gautam Buddha Nagar, Ghaziabad, Meerut, and also like Lucknow, Ayodhya, Varanasi, Prayag, a lot of projects have been sanctioned. Let me give you the figures. In 2024, UP RERA had sanctioned 259 projects. So these are new projects. And in this month itself, we have sanctioned around 25 projects. So a lot of stock is now coming up. So home buyers will have a wide range of choice. And yes, the prices have also slightly gone up, but the stocks are also available in abundance.
Okay. Mr. Jasuja, so there are incentives for affordable housing, and the government keeps talking about housing for all, and there's also budget housing that's being something that, the middle class keeps dreaming about. So are these houses being built and sold? We keep hearing about growth in the luxury segment and near stagnation in the affordable segment, Mr. Jasuja. So tell us, what is the reality, really?
Let me share some hard facts.
Mr. Jasuja, you'll have to unmute yourself.
When we talk about middle class housing, when we're talking about in tier 1 cities, when we talk about 50 lakhs to 1 crore, you'll be shocked that in the tier 1 cities, the supply has come down from 160,000 units to 110,000 units. That's a drop of 30% when the real estate market is booming. And in the affordable segment, which you talk about 0 to 50 lakhs, the drop has been 40%. So 40% in 0 to 50 lakhs, 30% in 50 lakhs to 1 crore. And let's look at the luxury now. In the luxury segment above 1 crore, we have 1,40,000 units launched in 2022. And in 2024, it's exceeded 211,000 units. That's an upward trajectory of 48%. When you look at the NCR region, there were 45,000 units that were launched in the year 2024, and less than 3,000 units were launched under 1 crore.
Right.
So there is a big demand-supply mismatch in the markets today, with the real estate prices having gone up, especially in tier 1 cities, where the maximum migration is happening, where the maximum jobs are getting created. So really speaking, when you see such a big demand-supply mismatch with respect to mid-income housing and affordable housing, the government really needs to step up with some initiatives in that segment. And the luxury is very profitable anyway, so they don't need to touch the luxury segment. But over the last 3 years, the demand-supply mismatch favoring luxury has gone up so much that it has just become unaffordable for the middle class to buy any homes, or for the developers to launch any homes, because the land prices have gone up so much.
Yeah, taking off from what you said, Mr. Srivastav, have you also noticed this unusual surge in rentals in recent years? Because I look around me and that's one thing that I do observe. So isn't this growth also pushing housing costs beyond the reach of consumers?
Sure. Good evening, Vasudha, to you and your viewers. I think what you said here is a very salient point, and I think it connects very well with the points the other two gentlemen made, that if the supply for good quality supply for affordable housing will be limited, then naturally people who can't afford it and are actually taking it on rent, the rental percentages will increase, and that will actually be a two-way bind, because at one end people want to buy housing that is not available enough, and on the other hand, whatever they are actually spending, the rentals are going up. And I think to solve this conundrum, the expectation of budget 2025 will definitely be that if you look from the consumer perspective, then there are three key expectations which the consumer has for affordable housing. It's about accessibility, it's about affordability, and it's about reliability, that for a person from buying a affordable or a medium class housing, they are putting on a significant amount of their capital into their housing, and for that they need to have a reliable thing. And that's where I think directionally in the interim budget, FM had talked about including giving about 2.2 lakh crores over 5 years for affordable housing. But I think now we need to move to a stage where many of these plans which were announced, we need to now take it to a execution stage. And therefore, there is a three-way play where developers have to ensure they create good quality housing in key locations at an affordable affordable rate, which can actually move fast. The government has to play its role on a select basis, that wherever there is a need, for example, government had identified transit oriented development in about 14 cities where it can come in, or there may be a need for a viability gap funding if there is an industrial worker, a blue collar worker housing which is requirement. So government has to work on this enablement mode. And thirdly, in order ultimately a person, whether taking it on rent or buying on their own, will actually need greater disposable income at their end.
Absolutely.
So therein also some kind of an incentive, either in terms of having greater net income in their hand, or having a dedicated deduction available for principal and interest. This is what the buyers will expect. So that's how I see the three-way play.
Okay. Mr. Busreddy, so I'll ask you a straight question. With home prices at such high levels, what is a better option, buying or renting? And what should be common man's, middle-class households' expectations from Budget 2025, specifically when it comes to affordability of houses?
See, affordability as on date, our two speakers were correct in their suggestions. Affordability today is, in case of metro tier 1 cities, it is 60 meter and 45 lakhs. So that is the amount, but this amount was fixed few years back. So today with the surge in prices, because maybe as being said, mismatch, though as UP RERA, we are trying our level best to ensure that a good number of projects come by good promoters in the shortest possible time. So every month we do 2-3 authority meetings so that they come very quickly, and there is a wide range of bouquet available to the buyers to go for.
Right.
In case of tier 2, it is 90 meters or 45 lakhs.
Okay.
So this amount, perhaps the government may be considering to review it. But as on date, as it stands, we all know.
Right.
And
therefore,
we will have to
that's
work
a very
it on
important point. Taking off from what Mr. Bureddy and also Mr. Srivastav said, what incentives can home buyers expect from the budget? What is it that the budget should have, in fact, and also from the RBI in the coming months regarding interest rate reductions? Also, help us a little bit understand, how serious is the affordability issue in major urban centers, because that's what both panelists have also been talking about.
So like I mentioned with respect to the numbers, the government has to take a lot of proactive measures to ensure that there's enough middle-income housing and affordable housing homes come up. For that, a lot of incentivization has to be done at a drastic level, especially in tier 1 cities, to the developers, as well as bringing down and providing subsidized rates for housing finance and increasing the limit of 60 meters to maybe 70-80 meters for subsidization, because there are density issues also in NCR, for example, which is the maximum population in tier 1 cities. For example, in Gurgaon, if you have to do a project, you can't do homes under 60 meters.
Right.
And that's why the price shoots up above 1 crore. And when you subsidize via GST, via housing finance, and via reducing the stamp duty rates and registration rates in the under 1 crore segment, that could be very helpful, but all three steps will have to be taken.
So policy interventions are equally important. Thank you all of you for joining me on this broadcast. Experts, like you heard, are expecting moves that will significantly reduce the financial burden on home buyers and also serve as a strong incentive for prospective buyers. All of us want to own, homes in the country that we live in. Ultimately, also stimulating demand in the residential real estate market. But we'll have to wait and see what is on store for us on the budget day. That's all we have for you in the show. Tomorrow we'll be back with another concern, demand, expectation of the middle class. Keep watching NDTV.
This baby bear is terrified, torn from her mother's paws at a tender age. They will force her to live alone in a tiny, filthy cage, like so many bears driven mad by loneliness, rubbing their wounds raw against the bars, suffering cruelly day after day, year after year, just for people's entertainment. Four Paws found little Potap crammed into a tiny, squalid cage. He'd been there for almost 9 years, lonely and isolated. There are so many more young bears who need your help. Please call 0800 038 0455 or text CUB3 to 78866 and give £2 a month to help rescue them. Every month, your £2 could help us free more bears, help give bears the veterinary care they need, and help them live happy, healthy lives in the freedom of our natural sanctuaries. Call 0800 038 0455 or text CUB3 to 78866 and give £2 a month and help Four Paws free bears from agonising torture. Please, don't leave these bears to suffer for a single day more.
I like making sure I've got all the right tools for the job. And now that I'm 50, that means looking after the life I've built, protecting my lot if anything happened to me. That's why I decided to learn more about over 50s life insurance from Cover Today. They're the only over 50s life insurer with no waiting period, unlike other insurers who could make you wait up to 2 years for full cover. With Cover Today, you're fully covered from day one. And you're covered for the whole of your life. Plus, unlike other things in life, the price never goes up. Learning more couldn't be simpler. Go online or talk to their friendly UK team in just one phone call.
Cover Today are the only over 50s life insurer with no waiting period and no annoying trips to the doctors either. Plus, you get your choice of a £125 gift card.
Cover Today has given me genuine peace of mind. And now that's done, I can get on with something much more interesting.
To find out more about Cover Today, call our friendly UK team on 0808 143 4733 or visit covertoday.co.uk.
No child should suffer the torture of trachoma, but so many are in pain right now. Nananga's lashes have turned inwards. They rip and tear away at his eyes. Pamelo's sight could be gone forever. He's just 3 years old. Kofanga screams for his mother. His eyes are so infected that he can't even see her. For so many children in the world's poorest countries, trachoma is torture. It's a painful infection often spread by flies, and it's destroying children's eyesight. But it could be stopped if you help today. By calling 0800 021 3925 and giving £2 a month to Sightsavers, you can help make sure children get the treatment they desperately need. You'll help us bring them the medicines and the care that can treat infections. And that means you'll be helping to save children from the torture of trachoma and a life of blindness. Please help us reach them. Call 0800 021 3925. Text C7 to 82727 or go online and give just £2 a month now. Because we need you to help save the sight of children like Nananga. We need you to help save them from the torture of trachoma.
Quidco gives you cashback every time you shop on over 5,000 brands. It always pays to Quidco. Sign up and start saving today. Visit quidco.com.
Zoe has completely changed the way I think about food. Getting older, I've realised that what I eat makes a massive difference. With Zoe, my test results help tailor my advice. It's like having a nutritionist in my pocket.
Go to zoe.com and get started today.
I'll fix him, love. Poor pet. Just shows you never know what's going to happen. Which reminds me, I need to protect the life we've built. That's why I'm looking into smart family life insurance.
Hi, I'd like a quick quote, please.
OK, you can choose a benefit amount up to £750,000, depending on your age. If you're a UK resident aged 18 to 64, you can apply with just a few health and lifestyle questions. For £250,000 of cover, the price starts at just £14.77 a month.
That's less than I thought. And it could help my husband with the mortgage.
Just like families, not all life insurance is the same. That's why we offer the Smart Family Guarantee.
That's good to know.
You'll also receive a 100% advance in the event of terminal illness and 10% cash back on your first year's premiums. That's the Smart Cashback. Plus, you'll also get your choice of a £125 gift card.
Protect the life you've built the smart way. To get a free quote today, call our specialist UK team on 0800 977 5753 or visit smartinsurance.co.uk.
NDTV speaks to Union Minister Ashwini Vaishnav in Davos. He says the tech and finance world are confident about India's story. He says there's a confidence in our trajectory of our economy. The latest flashpoint in Delhi, movement of VIPs from Punjab. NDTV accesses the Delhi police letter to Punjab seeking information as the BJP hits out that Punjab machinery being used ahead of polls. AAP says the BJP insulting Punjabis. With US President Donald Trump's executive order to end birthright citizenship, a huge impact on Indians in the US, uncertainty for families and children of H-1B visa holders, but 22 states have sued the president. US Secretary of State Marco Rubio held the first Quad ministerial meeting with Australia, India and Japan. Jointly, the Quad warns China against changing the status quo in the Indo-Pacific. Hundreds of schools in Rajasthan set to close down and be merged with bigger schools due to low number of students, but with thousands of young students impacted, Kejriwal issues a warning as the BJP defends the move. And actor Saif Ali Khan met with the auto driver Bhajan Singh Rana, who had taken him to the hospital the night he was stabbed, thanked him for saving his life. Rana told him he had prayed for his recovery. Up first, a major train tragedy. An accident took place in Paranda railway station in Maharashtra's Jalgaon. 11 people are dead, several have been injured. It's being reported that rumors of a fire on the Pushpak Express led to panic, causing frightened passengers to jump out of the train. Some of the passengers were then struck by the Karnataka Express, which was passing on the other track. The situation escalated after an alarm chain was pulled on the Pushpak Express.
वो पुष्पक एक्सप्रेस है जो लखनऊ से छत्रपति शिवाजी महाराज टर्मिनस के लिए आती है। उस गाड़ी में पचौरा स्थानक के दरमियान पास में एसीपी हुआ था। वहाँ पे एसीपी होने के बाद कुछ यात्री जो है वो ट्रेन से नीचे उतरे थे। उसी समय अपोजिट डायरेक्शन से आने वाली जो कर्नाटक एक्सप्रेस है उस गाड़ी की वजह से कुछ यात्रियों को इंजरी होने की जो घटना है वो हमारे सामने आई है। उन यात्रियों को हम लोग मेडिकल मदद पहुंचाने की प्रयास कर रहे हैं। स्थानिक प्रशासन है उससे भी मदद ली जा रही है। उसी के साथ में रेलवे की जो एक्सीडेंट मेडिकल रिलीफ वैन होती है वो भी भुसावल से ऑलरेडी निकल चुकी है।
Well, let's go across to Anuj now for more. And Anuj, what a terrible tragedy. 11 people are dead and all this was caused by a rumor and then panic. Give us more details.
This unfortunate incident took place at around 4:19 this evening when, the Pushpak Express, which was coming from Lucknow to the Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj terminus here in Mumbai, it was going through the northern Maharashtra region near Patsure. This is in the Jalgaon region of northern Maharashtra, where a couple of people thought that there was smoke coming out of the train, and they thought that there would be eventual fire too. Because they got panicked of this entire situation, a few of them went to pull down the chain, which, when the train stopped or before it stopped, many people who were already panicked as the rumor of the smoke had already spread in several coaches, they jumped off the train without even looking at the other side. But coincidentally, that was the time when the Karnataka Express, which runs from Bengaluru to Delhi, was also going from the same route. So when a lot of people came down on the track from the railway, they collided against the Karnataka Express, and then, close to a dozen people, 11 people to be precise, as of now, as has been confirmed by the authorities, lost their life, and as many as 40 to 45 people are expected to be injured. Out of them, as the Chief Minister and the authorities have also stated, 5 to 6 people are very seriously injured, and the treatment on these 5 to 6 people has been carried out in the civil hospital close to that particular place, in Patsore. But more importantly, the Chief Minister, who is in Davos at the moment, Mr. Fadnavis, he said via a video statement that a help and assistance of 5 lakh rupees has been provided or will be provided to all the deceased people. And the medical treatment will also be taken care by the Maharashtra government. But the central government and the several leaders here in Maharashtra have shown their, disheartenedness over this entire incident. It is Girish Mahajan, who comes from the Jalgaon region of Maharashtra, and is also a very close confidant of Devendra Fadnavis, who is present there at the moment and is closely monitoring all the development.
All right. Thanks so much, Anush, for joining us with that very, very tragic and unfortunate 11 people are dead. Now, a special report from Davos. NDTV's Vishnu Shom spoke to Union Minister Ashwini Vaishnav, who said that the tech world is very confident about India and its economic trajectory. On the production front, he said the first Made in India chip will be rolled out in 2025.
We've got Invest India, and we've got Ashwini Vaishnav, the minister, with me, leading the Indian delegation. And then you've got various state governments as well. So we've got Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh as well. There are other state governments also over here. Thank you so much, Minister, for being with us. Is it larger this year than in the past, broadly speaking? I mean, and how is it going in terms of generating business or interest in India?
So a couple of things. First, we have a very clearly integrated or unified pavilion this time. So all the state government pavilions are part of the India pavilion, which is very different from the previous times. And yes, of course, the space and the presence is very large. There are so many other Indian companies which are present on the promenade. If you walk across this entire length, you'll find that a large part of this is today India's presence is very clearly felt here. Second point, I would say, the global financial world, the world of technology, all of them have a lot of confidence about India in terms of the policy certainty, in terms of the way our technological base is getting set up. People have a lot of confidence in our growth. People have a lot of confidence in the trajectory of our economy.
You also head the India AI mission. A part of that is the ethical use of AI. We have a huge concern over deep fakes. The world is talking about AI, the WEF is talking about AI. How significant is the India AI mission in defining the path we take?
See, the India AI mission has 3 major objectives that we are going to do in this year itself. First is to create a common compute facility of 10,000 GPUs. Second is to have that very strong talent pipeline. And third is to basically focus on getting the applications in. Apart from that, we have had a very senior level committee headed by the principal scientific advisor to advise us on what should be the policy framework. So that recommendation has already come, and we are discussing with all the stakeholders to get the right regulatory framework where the innovation and regulation are neatly balanced. There is a consensus that yes, the potential of AI in solving some of the most complex problems, let's say in the case of healthcare, in case of weather, in case of logistics, in case of design, those must be tapped, and simultaneously the societal issues which are there must be addressed. So that understanding and that reckoning is very clear.
Now, our focus on the Delhi elections and the latest flashpoint, the movement of Punjab VIPs and Punjab registered vehicles in Delhi ahead of Republic Day. Delhi cops have written to Punjab asking to be informed about the movement of AAP leaders from Punjab and stating VIPs had not followed the protocols. BJP's Parvesh Verma, who's contesting against Arvind Kejriwal, also hit out, saying thousands of vehicles have Punjab numbers and are moving around in the constituency. Arvind Kejriwal and Punjab Chief Minister Bhagwant Mann led the fight back for AAP with each posting strongly worded posts. Mr. Kejriwal slammed the BJP for insulting lakhs of Punjabis in Delhi.
यहाँ पे नई दिल्ली विधानसभा में पंजाब सरकार के एमएलए सारी गाड़ियों के ऊपर में हज़ारों गाड़ियाँ आ रही हैं जिनके ऊपर में गवर्नमेंट ऑफ पंजाब लिखा हुआ है। पहले तो गवर्नमेंट ऑफ पंजाब की गाड़ियाँ किसी भी इलेक्शन सर्विस में कोई भी नहीं लग सकती हैं, एक बात। दूसरा, उनके अगर कार्यकर्ता एमएलए मंत्री मुख्यमंत्री आ रहे हैं तो वो केवल प्रचार करने आ सकते हैं, वो यहाँ के वोटर को इन्फ्लुएंस करने नहीं आ सकते। वो यहाँ पे पैसा बांट रहे हैं, शराब बांट रहे हैं और यहाँ पे चाइनीज़ कंपनी के सीसीटीवी कैमरा लगा रहे हैं। और अरविंद केजरीवाल और ये भगवंत मान ने मुझे कहा कि मैंने पंजाबियों के बारे में जो कहा है तो मैं उनके ऊपर में अभी मानहानि का मुकदमा दर्ज कर रहा हूँ, मैं उनको लीगल नोटिस भेज रहा हूँ, 100 करोड़ रुपए का मानहानि का मुकदमा कर रहा हूँ।
It is very unfortunate that the BJP is using the Delhi police to meet its political ends, to create pressure on its political opponents. It's very unfortunate the kind of language that the BJP has used for Punjabis, especially Parvesh Verma ji, who said that he thinks that they're a threat to the country. This is extremely unfortunate to be giving such bayans during election time. Especially, it is you're trying to create communal disharmony as always, which is a BJP pattern.
Prime Minister Modi today addressed booth-level workers of the Delhi BJP through video conferencing under the Mera Booth Sabse Majboot program. Ahead of the polls, he said they need to inspire trust among the youth and also expose the lies and deceit of the Aam Aadmi Party government.
दिल्ली वाले
Please respond.
आप वालों की आपदा और उनके झूठ, उनके फरेब अब उब चुके हैं जी। पहले कांग्रेस ने और फिर आपदा वालों ने आपदा ने दिल्ली के लोगों से बहुत विश्वासघात किया है। एक बात आपको समझनी है, आपकी ये आपदा वाले जो हैं वो आज आपने देखा होगा हर दिन एक नई घोषणा करते हैं। क्यों करनी पड़ रही है? पहले के चुनाव में तो ऐसा नहीं करना पड़ा था। इसका मतलब है कि रोज उनको पराजय की नई नई खबरें मिलती जा रही है।
News now from Rajasthan, where the government has announced the merger of over 400 government schools with the nearby higher secondary schools. The decision taken due to low enrollment and other viability-related issues. But this has impacted thousands of young students who will have to travel long distances now for their education. It's also playing out in the Delhi elections, with Arvind Kejriwal hitting out, saying the BJP is shutting down schools.
Nine-year-old Nooram will now have to walk 2 kilometers to her new school. It's a long distance for children so young. But there is no choice. This primary school in Jaipur's Sanjay Nagar will now be merged with the higher secondary school in Rajiv Nagar, 2 kilometers away. All the children of Sanjay Nagar were looking forward to moving into this brand new primary school building restored with MLA funds. But the government has decided otherwise.
बहुत दिक्कत होती है सर, पाँव दुख जाते, बहुत दूर है वो स्कूल। कभी तो कुत्ते पीछे पड़ जाते, जाते टाइम बहुत दिक्कत होती है, मतलब चढ़ाई पे बहुत बड़ी है। ये स्कूल खुल जाए।
Parents are also concerned. Some of them say it's unsafe to send children on foot so far. The government doesn't provide transportation and many girls are dropping out.
सरकार बोलती है बेटी बचाओ बेटी पढ़ाओ, तो पढ़ावें किसमें? पढ़ाने के लिए स्कूल भी तो चालू होना चाहिए।
मेरी लड़की का नाम तमन्ना है, 8वीं क्लास में पढ़ती थी, तो जाना आने में दिक्कत होती थी मेरी लड़की को, इस वजह से मैंने हटा लिया उसको। अब क्या करूँ, दूर स्कूल है तो फिर ओपन करवा रही हूँ। अभी तो चूड़े लगा रही है बस, और ओपन पढ़ाई कर रही है।
In Ajmer's Andarkot, 2 Urdu medium schools will now shut down and merge with regular schools. Students say they have studied in Urdu up to class 8, and now changing the medium of instruction halfway through the session will make it difficult for them.
यहाँ पर हमने 1 से लेके 8वीं तक हर माध्यम, मतलब कि हर सब्जेक्ट उर्दू में पढ़ा है और हमें उर्दू में ही पढ़ना है आगे भी। बराए मेहरबानी होगी आप लोगों की कि हमें हिंदी में सर्वे ना करें और हमें उर्दू में ही पढ़ना है। अगर हम एकदम से हिंदी में जाएंगे तो हमें समझने में भी मुश्किल होगी।
The ripples of the Rajasthan school merger can be felt in Delhi now going into an election, with the AAP tweeting that the BJP will shut down government schools if they come to power in Delhi. But the BJP in its Sankalp Patra for Delhi says they would provide free education from KG to PG in government institutions in Delhi.
केजी से पीजी तक मुफ्त शिक्षा मिलेगी दिल्ली के जरूरतमंद छात्रों को सरकारी शैक्षिक संस्थानों में.
The Rajasthan government, on the other hand, dismisses the political controversy behind the merger of over 400 schools, saying they are not shutting down schools but merely moving students to schools nearby where there are better facilities and more teachers. With Somu Anand and Pawan Ataria, in Jaipur, Harsha Kumari Singh, NDTV.
Now, our focus on the United States and US President Donald Trump's executive order to end birthright citizenship for children whose parents lack legal status will have a huge impact on Indians in the US and create uncertainty regarding children whose parents are there on an H-1B visa. But now 22 states have sued to block the president's move. Let's go across to Arjun for more on this. Arjun, give us the details.
Well, thank you so much, Gargi. US President Donald Trump's announcement to end the birthright citizenship is set to have profound effects, in fact, particularly on the Indian-American community. Under the new directive, children born in the US to non-citizen parents will no longer automatically gain citizenship. It's a big blow. The policy change also means longer wait times for green card holders. This, apart from similar massive delays in family reunification. Indian students who make up a large portion of international students in the US also now face greater uncertainty about their future. For immigrant families, this decision adds to the already growing concerns about stability and the American dream. The new rules are strict. To gain citizenship, at least one parent must be a US citizen or at least a legal permanent resident. For Indian Americans who are first-generation immigrants, this adds new hurdles in fact and even uncertainty. However, respite will still be offered if at least one parent is a member of the military or the armed forces. For prospective viewers, as one of the largest immigrant groups in the US with over 5 million Indian Americans, this policy shift raises concerns. They comprise a substantial 1.47% of the American population, and out of these, around 2/3 or every 2 in 3 Indian Americans are in fact first-generation immigrants. Now, with the population of Indian Americans growing and contributing significantly to US industries, these changes could very well reshape the American dream for many Indian American families. Back to you, Gargi.
All right, thanks so much for that, Arjun. And staying with developments in the US on the H-1B visa program that again, remember, impacts Indians, Donald Trump has expressed a balanced view, saying there is a need to bring competent people from around the world, pointing out that this just isn't about engineers, but professionals in various fields. He also noted the growing demand for skilled workers, especially in tech and other industries. But currently, the minimum salary for H-1B visa holders stands at $60,000 annum. But proposals suggest it could be increased, even doubled, which will again narrow the talent pipeline for Indian firms. And staying with news from the US, on his first full day in office, the US Secretary of State Marco Rubio held the first Quad ministerial meeting with Australia, India and Japan and jointly warned against changing the status quo in the Indo-Pacific via coercive actions in a veiled but clear warning to China over its actions at sea. This was the first meeting of top diplomats of the China-focused grouping since Trump returned to the White House. Ghazali with the details.
So a day after Donald Trump took oath as United States President, it also sent out a big diplomatic signal by organizing Quad Foreign Ministers Meet, the first diplomatic talks or kind of engagement from the United States, where India was represented by Dr. Jaishankar, the foreign minister, and then his counterparts were from Japan and Australia, who held the meeting, the Quad's first meeting. And then they sent out a very strong message hinting towards China that it should stop its coercive steps in the Indo-Pacific region. And the joint statement by the Quad Foreign Ministers Meet also said that our four nations maintain our conviction that international law, economic opportunity, peace, stability and security in all domains, including the maritime domain, underpin the development and prosperity of the people of the Indo-Pacific. Now, this is very significant because this also happened to be the first diplomatic engagement of the new administration, the new Trump administration. And also, Mr. Trump has been warning China of tariffs. He has also been threatening Russia of sanctions if it doesn't come to the negotiation table. So that is a very big message out of the United States, that how it prioritizes Quad, the Indo-Pacific region, the maritime security, and also a kind of carrot and stick approach with Russia and China. Because on one hand, he's threatening China for sort of following the international law when it comes to maritime security. It is also threatening them with extra tariff. But Mr. Trump had also invited Xi Jinping for his swearing-in ceremony or the inauguration ceremony. So as of now, it can be concluded that what Mr. Trump or his administration is doing is that he wants to prioritize the Indo-Pacific region, its security, and also the Quad bloc, which was formed under Mr. Trump's previous presidency. So that also gets a lot of prominence. Now, from here on, we'll have to see that all what Mr. Trump had promised or said during his campaign, will he also pass some executive orders to implement that, like the tariffs against China, which is like 10% tariff on Chinese goods, is what Mr. Trump said. There has been no written orders which has been passed on it. When it comes to Russia also, because both China and Russia are close partners, and it is a message out there to both China and Russia, who are adversaries to United States, that they will have to fall in line or they will have to engage diplomatically to end or break any kind of ice between China, Russia and United States.
All right, now back to Rajasthan. There were 200 policemen and just half that number in the Bharat. This was the scene at a bridal procession in a small village in Ajmer district, where for the first time after independence, a young Dalit man rode a horse to his bride's house. In a state that ranks high in crimes against scheduled caste, not allowing a Dalit bridegroom to arrive atop a mare is a common form of discrimination, but not this time. Here's a report. 200 policemen and half the number of guests. This was the wedding procession of Vijay Regar in a small village 30 kilometers from Ajmer. Vijay belongs to a scheduled caste community, the Regars, and it is the first time a member of this community has been allowed to ride a horse to his wedding in this village.
मैं प्रशासन का बहुत सहयोग रहा है। मैं प्रशासन को बहुत धन्यवाद कहना चाहूँगा। जय हिंद सर, जय भीम। आज की टाइम में सब शिक्षित लोग हैं सर, ऐसी परंपरा को कौन मानते हैं? जहाँ शिक्षित लोग होंगे वैसी कोई घटना ही नहीं होगी, वही चीज़ है।
In 2005, a relative of his family had attempted to ride a mare during his wedding procession, but was forced to dismount by other village people. With these memories in the background, the family approached the police and the district administration about a fortnight ago. The police swung into action, ensuring that Vijay rode a horse all the way to his bride's home.
देश संविधान से चलता है और संविधान में सबको समान अधिकार हैं। जो हम कास्ट की बात नहीं कर रहे, जो एक एक्स व्यक्ति को अधिकार है वही वाई व्यक्ति को अधिकार है, और गांव वालों ने पूरा सहयोग किया और इस शांतिपूर्ण तरीके से बन पड़ी।
For the 30 Dalit families in this village dominated by the OBCs, this is indeed a liberation that has come 78 years after independence.
माहौल अच्छा चाहते हैं, प्रशासन साथ दे, घोड़ी पे बिठाएंगे, ये है।
प्रशासन से क्या मांग की है?
प्रशासन की घोड़ी बैंड डीजे की मांग की।
बहुत दिक्कत आई थी, घोड़ी को गांव वाले भगा दिए, पैसा बोरी सारे परिवार दुखी हो गए और गांव वाले बहुत गाली वगैरह बोलने लगे। हम चाहते हैं बैंड घोड़ी डीजे, घोड़ी पे बैठ के आए।
And it's a step forward for a state like Rajasthan, which ranks second after Uttar Pradesh in crimes against scheduled castes. With Pawan Ataria in Ajmer, in Jaipur, Harsha Kumari Singh, NDTV. All right, so for the first time, a Dalit groom on a mare there in that district in Rajasthan. And finally, actor Saif Ali Khan met auto driver Bhajan Singh Rana. He was the one who took him to the hospital after he was stabbed at home in the early hours of January 16th. The actor met him at the Lilavati hospital before he got discharged on the 21st. And in the picture, Saif can be seen smiling. Speaking to the media after that, Rana said he told the actor he had prayed for his recovery.
अब वही 4-5 मिनट उनसे हमारी मुलाकात हुई थी। जैसे अंदर बाहर से जैसे घूमते थे, उनका परिवार था, सब लोग बेचारे सब थैंक यू बोले, चलो जो भी काम किया अच्छा किया। और सैफ अली खान से बाकी जो भी था मैं उनके पैर छुए जाके, उनकी मम्मी भी हाथ जोड़े थे, उनके पैर छुए मैंने, और जो भी है सम्मान किया सबको, सबने मेरे को सम्मान किया, बोले सबसे तुम अच्छा काम किए, मेरे को सम्मान किया, आज मैंने बुलाया तो बहुत अच्छा लगा मेरे को। जैसा मुलाकात हुई मैंने, आप ठीक हो जाओ बस यही दुआ करता था, पहले भी दुआ करता था।
Well, that's it from me for the moment. News and updates continue right here on NDTV. Do keep watching.
Life's full of times like this. Oh yeah. The gaps between the good stuff. Okay. Like killing time in waiting rooms. It's not long until you've had enough. David, it's time for some tombola. Working on that flat pack. Open for fun. Been bulking up the six-pack. Open for fun. Yes! I've won £11! All right, calm down. It's just a bit of bingo. Open for fun.
Time's up, fat diets. Life's too short to only eat grapefruit, hard-boiled eggs, cabbage soup. Ugh. Ditch the diet shakes, measuring tapes, and vibrating plates, and break free from fad diets with Voi. With its combination of clinically proven medication, personalised health app, and one-to-one coaching, join the weight loss revolution today at joinvoi.com.
Please, can you send someone out? The poor thing is so skinny, I don't think he can walk. Oh, the poor thing. This is awful.
Okay, let me take an address.
Today, the RSPCA will answer over 2,000 calls about animal cruelty and neglect.
Just completely unacceptable, isn't it, mate?
Today, we will need to take over 100 animals into our care. Today, we urgently need your help to save them. Please call 0800 121 4228. Every minute of every day, animals are suffering heartbreaking cruelty and neglect. Every day, our team works tirelessly to save them. A gift of just £2 a month will help us do even more. Answer more calls, rescue more innocent animals, and provide more life-saving treatments. But today, animals are suffering terrible abuse and neglect. Help us save them.
He's just been left tied up, I think. Poor thing's got no hair on him. He's in a terrible state.
Today, please call 0800 121 4228 or text TODAY to 82727 and give £2 a month. That's 0800 121 4228. Thank you.
With retirement round the corner, I want to spend more time with my family and less time worrying about the numbers. Which reminds me.
Welcome to British Seniors, the UK's #1 rated provider of over 50s life insurance.
Hi, I'd like a quick quote.
No problem. We're proud to offer our seniors lifetime guarantee. With 100% of claims having been paid, we guarantee your premiums will never go up and that you'll speak to one of our specialists in the UK. UK residents aged 50 to 80 are guaranteed to be accepted. Depending on your age, your loved ones can get a cash payout up to £10,000.
And that money could help with funeral costs or even as a gift for the grandkids. I'll do it.
Plus, when you sign up, you'll receive a £135 gift card and free 24/7 GP advice and health services.
You got them all right. That's amazing.
Be proud to protect your loved ones with British Seniors. To get a free quote today, call our UK team on 0800 977 5808 or visit britishseniors.co.uk.
Actor of the Year. By the way, my dear friends, you know, probably I am one of the first ones in the history of NDTV to have this rare, proud honor of announcing and honoring as in the place of a real hero to a reel of my own movie, Shrikant. Without a further ado, with great admiration, love and due respect, the best actor of the year goes to Shri Rajkumar Rao. Please come on to the stage.
Ladies and gentlemen, Rajkumar Rao's versatility, dedication to meaningful cinema, and consistent delivery of powerful performances continued in 2024. His recent roles in Shrikant, Mr. and Mrs. Mahi, Stree 2 and Wiki Vidya Ka Wo Wala video showcases his deep commitment to his craft, often transforming himself physically and emotionally to suit the character's demands, making Rajkumar Rao the NDTV actor of 2024.
जोरदार तालियां राजकुमार के लिए। भाई हम सबके दिलों के राजकुमार भी तो हैं ये। राजकुमार, आपसे पूछना चाहेंगे हम, 2024 मेरे ख्याल से आपके जीवन का सबसे सुनहरा साल आप इसको मानेंगे?
Well, definitely. First of all, thank you so much, NDTV. Thank you, sir. Thank you, jury. Thank you, Shrikant, the real Shrikant, for giving us your life story and for giving me this opportunity to play you on screen, because it was one of the most challenging parts. But I had so much fun.
Hello and a very good evening. You're watching The Last Word. My name is Kitty Bahel. With just 2 weeks left for the big Delhi Assembly poll fight, the BJP, Congress and Aam Aadmi Party are at daggers drawn over Delhi security. The Delhi police had written a letter to the Punjab DGP on January 10th asking the Punjab Corps to inform them well in advance about the movement and security details of AAP leaders from Punjab. A number of Punjab MLAs, ministers and leaders are campaigning in the national capital, and the Delhi police has said that VIPs from Punjab are not following the protocol to inform the local police about their movements in the national capital. Well, the Punjab DGP, however, in a January 18 letter has assured all cooperation to the Delhi police, but if any details have been shared with them or not, we are not aware. Meanwhile, the Aam Aadmi Party has alleged that the BJP has insulted Punjabis of Delhi. We do understand Arvind Kejriwal has asked if the BJP thinks all Punjabis are traitors and a threat to the country. The Congress has asked as to what Punjab police vehicles were doing in Delhi. The BJP, meanwhile, has alleged that Arvind Kejriwal has been conducting his campaign with a convoy of 50 cars and 400 Punjab police personnel, and that also 50 crore rupees had been sent from the Punjab government for Kejriwal's campaign in New Delhi. Well, the BJP has asked for EC to probe the issue. We will talk about this in detail in just a bit. Let's first listen in to Parvesh Verma and Arvind Kejriwal.
नई दिल्ली विधानसभा में पंजाब सरकार के एमएलए सारी गाड़ियों के ऊपर में हजारों गाड़ियां आ रही हैं जिनके ऊपर में गवर्नमेंट ऑफ पंजाब लिखा हुआ है। पहले तो गवर्नमेंट ऑफ पंजाब की गाड़ियां किसी भी इलेक्शन सर्विस में कोई भी नहीं लग सकती हैं, एक बात। दूसरा, उनके अगर कार्यकर्ता एमएलए मंत्री मुख्यमंत्री आ रहे हैं तो वो केवल प्रचार करने आ सकते हैं, वो यहाँ के वोटर को इन्फ्लुएंस करने नहीं आ सकते। वो यहाँ पे पैसा बांट रहे हैं, शराब बांट रहे हैं।
पूरी दिल्ली पुलिस अब भारतीय जनता पार्टी का चुनाव प्रचार कर रही है, और चुनाव प्रचार कैसे कर रही है? भारतीय जनता पार्टी के गुंडों को गुंडागर्दी करने में संरक्षण देते हैं या फैसिलिटेट करते हैं, पार्टिसिपेट भी करते हैं। पूरे खुलेआम गुंडागर्दी चल रही है, पैसे बांटे जा रहे हैं, सामान बांटे जा रहे हैं। प्रवेश वर्मा जी ने कहा कि पंजाब की गाड़ियां घूम रही हैं, पता नहीं कौन लोग हैं उनमें, और 26 जनवरी गणतंत्र दिवस के लिए सुरक्षा के लिए ये खतरा है। तो क्या सारे पंजाबी आतंकवादी हैं? सारे पंजाबी देशद्रोही हैं? क्या सारे पंजाबी देश के लिए खतरा है?
अरविंद केजरीवाल और ये भगवंत मान ने मुझे कहा कि मैंने पंजाबियों के बारे में जो कहा है तो मैं उनके ऊपर में अभी मानहानि का मुकदमा दर्ज कर रहा हूं। मैं उनको लीगल नोटिस भेज रहा हूं, 100 करोड़ रुपए का मानहानि का मुकदमा कर रहा हूं। केजरीवाल के पास में कोई मुद्दा बचा ही नहीं है। केजरीवाल को दिखाई दे रहा है कि 8 तारीख को उसकी जमानत जब्त होने वाली है, तो वो बौखला गए हैं।
All right, so Parvesh Verma here says that he's filed a complaint with the police also and the Election Commission and a defamation suit against Arvind Kejriwal for making baseless allegations against him. All right, let's open this up for discussion. We have guests on the panel. I have with me RP Singh, national spokesperson of the BJP. I have Preeti Sharma Menon, national spokesperson of the Aam Aadmi Party, Congress spokesperson Ashish Srivastav, also political analyst Mr. Amitabh Tiwari with us. Thank you so much for all my panelists for joining us here on the broadcast. If I could come to the Aam Aadmi Party first. Well, Ms. Menon, the Delhi police in a letter on January 10th and asked for information on Punjab Aam Aadmi Party leaders or protectees movement in the national capital. I want to ask you first, has that information been provided to the Delhi police?
I'll come to that in just a minute. I'd just like to play this audio for a second. I mean, I know Arvind ji mentioned it.
संख्या में यहाँ पे पंजाब के नंबर की गाड़ियां घूम रही, उनमें कौन लोग हैं? यहाँ पे 26 जनवरी को मनाने की तैयारी चल रही है। यहाँ पे वो क्या ऐसा बड़ा काम करने वाले जिससे हमारी सुरक्षा व्यवस्था को खतरा हो सकता है?
So this is the issue here. The issue is that Parvesh Verma has insulted Punjabis. He's insulted the Sikh community. I feel sorry for people who are with the BJP, who are from Punjab, who are Sikhs, because he has said that any Punjab car in Delhi is going to pose a threat to the security of Delhi and of the Republic Day parade. Now, everything else that is being done to cover up the horrible things that Parvesh Verma said.
But did he not say that we do not know who's inside these vehicles, who's inside these vehicles, who's coming from Punjab to Delhi? That information needs to be provided.
Correct.
Because Republic Day preparations are going on and there could be a security threat.
No.
Should that information not be provided to the Delhi police? I'm asking, has that information been provided or not? Yes, ma'am, go ahead.
Yes. There are two different things. One is the movements of Delhi police and Punjab police. That's between the two police departments. It's nothing to do with the Aam Aadmi Party or any people of the city. If there are Punjab police personnel over here for VIP security, then they have to report the way they do when they travel to any other state. And I hope and I wish that the Home Ministry has also made these same requests to Uttar Pradesh and other states from where BJP chief ministers, BJP leaders are coming to Delhi to join the election campaign for BJP. So a number of other leaders like Anurag Thakur, whenever he is in Delhi, he has his convoy with him of police from his state. So everybody comes with their convoys.
Well, that's the protocol. They have to share information. But that is what the Delhi police is saying, that the Aam Aadmi Party leaders who are coming from Punjab to Delhi, they are not sharing the information, ma'am.
I will take 30 seconds.
Okay.
I will complete.
Okay.
I will complete in 30 seconds. No, there has been no statement made that they are not sharing. The DGP of Punjab Police has instructed his people to share. Information is being shared with the two departments. That's between the police forces. It has nothing to do with the Aam Aadmi Party. It has nothing to do with what Parvesh Verma said, where he said that vehicles with Punjab registrations...
Could you tell me how many Punjab ministers and MLAs and leaders have come to Delhi for campaigning in the last few days? I'll have to go to other panelists also, ma'am. Could you tell me that?
Registration vehicles can be any Punjabi. Punjab registration vehicles can be any Punjabi. It is not just the Punjab police. They are all people of Punjab.
Okay, all right. Let me go across to the BJP spokesperson here. Well, Mr. R.P. Singh, the Delhi police has raised this issue after there have been reports that VIPs from Punjab have not been following the protocol to inform local police about their movement. They've been saying that they're seen moving with their vehicles, but they won't share details with the local police. Why is that so? Why do you think that the details are not being shared?
Well, let's understand what's happening on ground. There are people from various parts of Punjab who are working here. They are most welcome. They are political leaders and political workers who are working here. Their MLAs, they are most welcome. But there are security cover with them also, which is mandatory for their life because there can be threat to their life, which is also welcome. But if any security, any movement which happens of any VIP, and if he is traveling from one state to the other, it's mandatory that he has to inform to that respective state that I am moving, I will be here for such so and so period, so that the concerned state can organize the due security also, or probably need to beef up the security, or and stay in touch with the security which is carrying. This is for the good of the person who is traveling. Now, second is there is a set perception because 26 January, everyone knows 15th August and 26 January are troubled times for the country, and then especially for Delhi, because there is always a serious security threat during these 2 days, during these periods, especially a week before 26 January and week before 15th August. Every year there are people who are caught, there are security drills which are conducted, and then there are raids which have been conducted at various guest houses, Circuit House and various other hotels, and also just to ensure that there is no problem or no trouble during this period. Because it's a national event, and then you can't, because of some laxness, you can allow someone to play with the security of the country. So, and then that sends a message worldwide that this happened on these two particular days. And the target is also these two particular dates. So, what's harm in raising alarm that there can be people from under the guise of campaigning here, who can be under guise of campaigning, can be security to the city.
Okay.
And then, especially after we know that Aam Aadmi Party has been hobnobbing with Khalistanis. I mean, if you want, I can send you the videos and pictures right now. Kultar Singh Sandwan is the Honorable Speaker of the Punjab Assembly. He was felicitated by Harjit Singh Bajwa, a known stem Khalistani, when he was traveling to Canada. I mean, and he has posted the same on his social media. So not Harjit Singh Bajwa, Mr. Sandwan. So probably they can have relationship, they can have family relationship, but we can't deny that Harjit Singh Bajwa.
I'll give the Aam Aadmi Party spokesperson to respond to that.
Another second, I have interrupted.
Okay, okay, Mr.
Interrupted, ma'am, please. Give me another second. And also, recently, Raghav Chatterjee was. Please, madam, I mean, stop
I'll
being
just
like.
come back to you. I have to go to the Congress spokesperson also. Let Mr. Singh respond. Let Mr. Singh respond.
You never interrupted. I never
Yes, Mr.
interrupted.
Singh, please go ahead. Ma'am, I'll just come back to you.
Can I have another second? Another 1 second.
Please go ahead.
Raghav Chatterjee was abroad recently. He was in London. He got a picture, specially posted on his social media with Preeti Gerwal. Who's Preeti Gerwal? He's a member of parliament in UK. But what is her background? He's a staunch supporter of Khalistani or a separate movement in the country. When you can have bonhoming with people, leaders, but when you put pictures of this sort on your social media, it means it can be construed differently. So why to take a chance? So there are occasions when Aam Aadmi Party has shown certain.
Okay, so you're saying there is a concern. There could be a security threat. That these cars that are coming in from these vehicles that are coming in from Punjab to Delhi with, well, of course, Punjab license plates. There could be a threat to the security here in the national capital. But yes, that needs to be kept in mind. Let me go across to the Congress spokesperson also. Miss Menon, I'm just coming to you. Well, Sandeep Dixit has said that Aam Aadmi Party deployed Punjab police vehicles for election campaigning. And it raises serious concerns about the misuse of police for campaigning, that they're using Punjab police for campaigning. This is what Sandeep Dixit has said. Why does the Congress believe so? Why that the Aam Aadmi Party is using the Punjab cops for campaigning? He's also said that UP police vehicles are not to be seen in Delhi or Haryana vehicles are not to be seen in Delhi, but it's only Punjab police vehicles that are being seen, and Arvind Kejriwal and his party are using that for campaigning for their own personal benefit.
So, Kitty, we are seeing on ground in New Delhi area, in Govindpuri area, in Kalkaji area, we are seeing that Punjab police is doing and supporting the Aam Aadmi Party campaign. So we are seeing on the ground, and this is clear misuse of official machinery and the system. So we are seeing on this ground. That's why Mr. Sandeep Dixit has claimed this. So and BJP also has the same concept of misusing official machineries. So we have seen in they also misuse election commission. They also misuse ED and CBI too. So both the party has a history of misusing official machineries. So Sandeep Dixit ji, and we are also seeing everything on ground, that how Punjab police is working on ground on daily election.
Okay.
And I'll also condemn statement of Parvez Verma ji that the Punjabis are threat to Delhi Republic Day celebration. So I completely condemn that they have the again here I'll say Aam Aadmi Party and BJP has a habit of abusing the community time to time. Parvez Verma is abusing Punjabi communities with a threat on Republic Day celebration, whereas Kejriwal ji abusing Purvanchalis for not cleaning the Yamuna river. So they both have the same characteristics of Sangh. So they both are showing the same characteristics.
Okay, I'll go to Mr. Tiwari. Let me take a response from Ms. Menon here. Ms. Menon, go ahead.
So what is happening on the ground in Delhi is that Aam Aadmi Party is sweeping Delhi again for one simple reason. We are a welfare state. Okay, the kind of things services that we are offering to the people of Delhi are something that the BJP can never be expected to give. The BJP has not given free electricity in 22 states that they are governing in. The BJP will never ever give free education. Their manifesto says only to needy students. So they're going to dismantle the education model that we have created. So the people of Delhi have seen this. They are voting for the Aam Aadmi Party, and
How
therefore
many
now
schools
BJP
you
is
have created?
flustered. They are attacking us on the ground. We have written to the Election Commission on the attacks, and therefore they have to respond. And the easiest target is Punjabis. BJP has always targeted Punjab. In a way, glad that the BJP spokesperson here has admitted that he thinks that the threat to the security of Delhi is only from Punjab registered vehicles. There
All
are
right,
UP
Mr.
vehicles, there are
RP Singh,
Haryana
RP
vehicles,
Singh
there are
has
vehicles
some
from all
photos
over the
with him.
country.
He's got some
UP,
posters with
Yogi
him.
Adityanath ji is going to come
I
to Noida,
think
but they are not a threat. Only
he's
Punjabis
taking a
are
jibe
considered
at the
a threat
Aam
by
Aadmi Party here with
Aam
that
Aadmi
photographs there. All right. Yes.
It's about leaker policy which BJP is showing, but Aam Aadmi Party is claiming the education sector, what they have done. I want to ask them how many schools they have opened in last 11 years.
Okay, we'll come back to that. We'll come to that. Let me take one question to Mr. Amitabh Tiwari here. Mr. Amitabh Tiwari, it looks like the Aam Aadmi Party here is trying to turn this issue on BJP's head, saying that the BJP has insulted Punjabis and they must apologize for that. Well, we do understand Delhi is certainly home to lakhs of Punjabis, people from the Punjabi community. You are a man of numbers. Tell us how it impacts, in Delhi polls, who the Punjabi vote bank goes to.
See, largely, if you see the Punjabi Khatri community votes more for the BJP in Vidhan Sabha elections, around 10 percentage points higher compared to Aam Aadmi Party. And if you include the Sikh community in this, then of course amongst the Sikh community, Aam Aadmi Party leads by a landslide. It got around 67% support in 2020 Vidhan Sabha election, whereas the BJP got only 28%. The Sikh community is around 5%, whereas the Punjabi Khatri community is around 7% of population. But see, it's largely, we have seen how there is a daily poster war and we are in the last leg of the election. So it's largely rhetorical from both sides. One is that Mr. Parvesh Verma, by bringing the issue of outsiders campaigning in his constituency, largely coming from Punjab, this is what the BJP model is. Many BJP union ministers are made in charges of Vidhan Sabhas and Lok Sabha seats. And when they travel in the government vehicles because there is a security protocol. And if there is a misuse, then the Delhi police and the election commission have to take action. They are not under the control of AAP. Secondly, Aam Aadmi Party making it that it's an insult of the Punjabi community is also taking it too far. His Parvesh Verma statement is just being taken out of context. He did not, of course, that, but he is, of course, worried about the fact that a lot of outsiders are campaigning and they are huge in numbers, so they get an edge in door-to-door campaigning, which the BJP enjoys in other states. So I think it's a largely rhetorical, and the voters would like.
But we have to give it to him. Parvesh Verma also, he's leaving no stone unturned to make sure that he gives a strong competition here to Arvind Kejriwal. How does this fight really look like for the BJP? If I could ask you, Mr. Tiwari, can the BJP break the 27-year jinx? That is what is on everybody's mind. Well, what many believe that their numbers might increase, but yes, their vote share also increases every time the elections take place, but they really struggle to convert that into seats.
No, essentially what happens is that BJP has got a decent chance this time, and that's why they have upped the ante against the Aam Aadmi Party, because of course there is a bit of natural anti-incumbency which creeps in, and there are now two layers of government, the state government as well as the MCD, which is controlled by the Aam Aadmi Party. So earlier the Aam Aadmi Party used to deflect the non-performance of the MCD, so basic civic issues, etc., to the BJP, which they will not be able to do this time. See, it's a battle of the middle class voters. That's why we've seen that the Aam Aadmi Party has come up with 7 demands sort of from the central government, from the budget, because it is the middle class voter which shifts between the BJP and the Aam Aadmi Party from a Lok Sabha to a Vidhan Sabha. Now, if this middle class voter stays with BJP because of the liquor gate and the Sheesh Mahal controversy allegations, then the AAP is in trouble. That's why AAP has come up with this list of 7 demands. preempting that move and trying to set the agenda. So it all depends upon whether the BJP is able to hold on to the middle class voter, which votes for brand Modi in Lok Sabha, but votes for brand Kejriwal. A section of the voter which votes for brand Kejriwal in the Vidhan Sabha election.
Okay. Ms. Menon, well, what is the Aam Aadmi Party expecting? One time lucky, two time lucky, but third time? Well, the BJP and the Congress party have also made umpteen promises to the people of Delhi, providing, well, they've of course promised to provide free education, electricity, and you know all the promises that the Aam Aadmi Party has been making and keeping, of course. Well, what is the Aam Aadmi Party expecting this time around?
So, in a way, I'm really happy that the BJP and the Congress are learning from us that it is the responsibility of a government to provide welfare to the people. The Prime Minister first used to call it freaky revdi, but now they have copy-pasted our manifesto exactly on everything that we are doing. So if we are giving a 10 lakh insurance to the auto rickshaw drivers, they've offered the same. If we are doing something for some particular section, they've offered exactly the same things. They've literally copy-pasted our manifesto. And I think imitation is a form of flattery. So I am happy that they are copying and taking our lead, but the actual proof
but the
of the pudding
Ayushman
is in the
scheme
delivery.
hasn't been implemented in
only
Delhi, and that
state
is what
where
the BJP
electricity is
says,
free
that that's a disadvantage to the people of
Because
Delhi, that
the
you've brought your
scheme
own
has-
scheme,
the
but just
Ayushman
because for
scheme is
political
full of
benefit you
scams.
did not want to
Dead people
implement the
are getting
Ayushman
the-
scheme.
Because the court has also upheld the Aam Aadmi Party's right to not implement the Ayushman scheme right away, because the Ayushman scheme is full of loopholes and scams. Whereas we have a scheme where we are saying that any individual in Delhi, senior citizen above 60 years, wants to get treatment even in a private hospital, the government will pay for it. What could be better than that? If I am over 60 and I want treatment in a private hospital, the government is going to pay for it. There's no scheme required. There's no scam that can be possibly taking place over here the way it is in the Ayushman scheme. The Aam Aadmi Party delivers, and that is what the people of Delhi know. We are sweeping Delhi very, very effectively, and what we've given to the middle class already, we have given them a state where the per capita income is the highest, where the
Okay, ma'am, I won't have much time. I have to take the last response from Mr. RP Singh also, and Mr. Srivastava also. Let me take one quick response from Mr. RP Singh. Well, do you think, Mr. RP Singh, well, that the BJP's tally will increase this time around, and the Prime Minister Modi, of course, he's also going to be doing big rallies in the national capital for the BJP. Will Prime Minister's charm also work this time?
Well, surely Prime Minister charm works, and surely we are going to form the government this time. People of Delhi are fed up of this Paap ki handi, and it has happened twice. It's not going to happen third time. But let's talk about issue by issue. Schools. Please go through Justice Manmohan, who's the Supreme Court judge now. Observation about the schools in city. He said schools are being run in tin shed, and each class is in pathetic state. So this is what the judge, London judge, has to say about the schools. There are more than 150,000 students who are dropped out every year out of 9th and 11th standard because they want to improve the result of 10th and 12th. So this is the condition of the schools. But let's talk about health sector. More than 65,000 fake tests were conducted in Mohalla clinics, and also not only that, they were, ma'am, please don't be anarchist. I mean, stop being urban Naxal. I never interrupted you once. Stop this. So even the Mohalla clinics, the 65,000 fake tests were conducted, and 3 child died because wrong medicine was prescribed by the doctors in the Mohalla clinic. So this is the level of the social welfare scheme. Now, CM himself has admitted on various TV channels that I couldn't provide the tap water. I am sorry, I will do it in the next 5 years. He also said there are potholes in city.
Mr. RP Singh, you made your point. I'm sorry, I won't have much time. I'm sorry to Mr. Srivastava also. We won't have much time. But yes, we will definitely get more time next time when we meet, of course, that these debates, discussion will continue till the election at least, yes. And when the result comes, everybody would know whether the Aam Aadmi Party or the BJP or the Congress gets lucky this time around. Thank you so much to all my panelists for joining us here on the broadcast. All right, shifting our focus now, the Rajasthan government has announced the merger of over 400 government schools with the nearby higher secondary schools. The decision has been taken due to low enrollment and other viability related issues, but this has impacted thousands of young students who will have to travel long distance for education. Arvind Kejriwal has hit out saying that BJP is trying to shut down schools. Take a look.
9-year-old Nooram will now have to walk 2 kilometers to her new school. It's a long distance for children so young. But there is no choice. This primary school in Jaipur's Sanjay Nagar will now be merged with the higher secondary school in Rajiv Nagar, 2 kilometers away. All the children of Sanjay Nagar were looking forward to moving into this brand new primary school building restored with MLA funds. But the government has decided otherwise.
बहुत दिक्कत होती है सर, पाँव दुख जाते, बहुत दूर है वो स्कूल, कभी तो कुत्ते पीछे पड़ जाते, जाते टाइम बहुत दिक्कत होती है, मतलब चढ़ाई पे बहुत बड़ी है, ये स्कूल खुल जाए.
Parents are also concerned. Some of them say it's unsafe to send children on foot so far. The government doesn't provide transportation and many girls are dropping out.
सरकार बोलती है बेटी बचाओ बेटी पढ़ाओ, तो पढ़ावें किसमें? पढ़ाने के लिए स्कूल भी तो चालू होना चाहिए.
मेरी लड़की का नाम तमन्ना है, 8वीं क्लास में पढ़ती थी, तो जाना आने में दिक्कत होती थी मेरी लड़की को, इस वजह से मैंने हटा लिया उसको. अब क्या करूँ, दूर स्कूल है तो फिर ओपन करवा रही हूँ. अभी तो चूड़े लगा रही है बस, और ओपन पढ़ाई कर रही है.
In Ajmer's Andarkot, 2 Urdu medium schools will now shut down and merge with regular schools. Students say they have studied in Urdu up to class 8, and now changing the medium of instruction halfway through the session will make it difficult for them.
यहाँ पर हमने 1 से लेके 8वीं तक हर माध्यम मतलब कि हर सब्जेक्ट उर्दू में पढ़ा है और हमें उर्दू में ही पढ़ना है आगे भी. बराए मेहरबानी होगी आप लोगों की कि हमें हिंदी में सर्वे ना करें और हमें उर्दू में ही पढ़ना है. अगर हम एकदम से हिंदी में जाएंगे तो हमें समझने में भी मुश्किल होगी.
The ripples of the Rajasthan school merger can be felt in Delhi now going into an election, with the AAP tweeting that the BJP will shut down government schools if they come to power in Delhi. But the BJP in its Sankalp Patra for Delhi says they would provide free education from KG to PG in government institutions in Delhi.
KG से PG तक मुफ्त शिक्षा मिलेगी दिल्ली के जरूरतमंद छात्रों को सरकारी शैक्षिक संस्थानों में.
The Rajasthan government, on the other hand, dismisses the political controversy behind the merger of over 400 schools, saying they are not shutting down schools but merely moving students to schools nearby where there are better facilities and more teachers. With Somu Anand and Pavan Ataria, in Jaipur, Harsha Kumari Singh, NDTV.
This baby bear is terrified, torn from her mother's paws at a tender age. They will force her to live alone in a tiny, filthy cage, like so many bears driven mad by loneliness, rubbing their wounds raw against the bars, suffering cruelly day after day, year after year, just for people's entertainment. Four Paws found little Potap crammed into a tiny, squalid cage. He'd been there for almost 9 years, lonely and isolated. There are so many more young bears who need your help. Please call 0800 038 0496 or text BEAR5 to 70800 to give £3 a month via your mobile phone. Every month, your £3 could help us free more bears. Help give bears the veterinary care they need and help them live happy, healthy lives in the freedom of our natural sanctuaries. Please call 0800 038 0496 or text BEAR5 to 70800 to give £3 a month via your mobile phone and help Four Paws free bears from agonising torture. Please, don't leave these bears to suffer for a single day more.
Our first year as a family flew by, and now I want to make sure he'll be financially protected for all his birthdays to come. That's why I'm calling Smart Insurance.
Just like families, not all life insurance is the same. That's why we offer the Smart Family Guarantee. We guarantee a straightforward application process, award-winning service you can trust, and cover from day one. Plus, you get your choice of a £125 gift card.
To get a free quote today, call our specialist UK team or visit smartinsurance.co.uk.
Hello. How was Iceland? It was good, I guess. Had a few issues here and there.
Didn't you check Brighton?
No, the sun wasn't bright at all. Iceland, you know.
Wait, you don't know Brighton?
They must have missed out on some seamless visa assistance.
Plus extra baggage allowance and 24/7 customer support.
I mean, there's a reason they're rated excellent on Trustpilot.
Brightson Travel, making travel brighter.
This is an important message for people living with diabetes from people living with diabetes.
When I was experiencing the symptoms of diabetes, I didn't know what was going on.
You go on the internet and it's full of horror stories.
I didn't understand about carbs, I didn't understand about blood glucose levels.
That's why the support I get as a Diabetes UK member is so important.
You can become a Diabetes UK member for just £3 a month. When you do, you'll receive a practical guide specific to your type of diabetes and a copy of Balance magazine 4 times a year. Plus, you'll help support research that could lead to better treatments for all types of diabetes.
As members, we're all working it out together.
Call 0800 144 5410 or go online to become a Diabetes UK member for just £3 a month. Join us now because membership can help you learn to live better with diabetes.
It's the Virgin Media winter sale, and our price has dropped like the temperature.
To another important interview that also plays out on this program, the International Atomic Energy Agency chief telling us that Iran continues to have a high level of enriched uranium. How close are they to developing a nuclear weapon? In addition to that, we've got several experts talking about the big Trump transition in the United States, what it means for India, and also the Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister, Chandrababu Naidu, in our studios. So a packed program coming up right here on Left, Right and Centre. Well, one of the closest relationships that India enjoys with any nation is the partnership between India and Israel. We're very privileged to have a very senior minister with us. Nir Barkat is the Israel Economy and Industry Minister. Thank you very much, sir, for being with us.
My honor and pleasure.
We have a very close economic relationship. We'll talk about that at length. But before that, there is a very good chance, and we all hope, a chance for peace with the hostages returning back to Israel. How optimistic are you that the ceasefire will hold and that all the hostages will be returned?
Well, our heart is there. They were kidnapped from their homes with their pajamas. They did nothing. And unfortunately, the terror of Hamas kidnapped them while raping, killing, brutally beheading people. And so now there's a deal that we at least can bring a few of them back. Strategically, it has to be very, very clear. Yeah. Hamas cannot survive after this exchange of bringing our hostages back. Strategically, it must be replaced with people that recognize the state of Israel, that are peace-seeking. Otherwise, Hamas wants to do that again. Their charter, the jihadi charter, is to terrorize Israel, to have another October 7. We will not allow that to happen.
Do you believe that Hamas is essentially finished as a viable terrorist organization after all your military actions in Gaza over a period of time?
Well, unfortunately, no. Their charter, their goal is to wipe Israel off the map. They're jihadists. They want to return to power. They will not allow anybody else to develop, to seek peace with Israel as long as they're in power. They cannot be. They will not be. Not militarily, and not on the civil side. They cannot lead Gaza. And if, God forbid, they continue, they think they will, we will never have peace with them.
What about Hezbollah? You've taken a lot of proactive action in Lebanon as well. The Israeli forces have subsequently withdrawn. But do you believe that the nature of the threat that you face on your northern border remains viable?
Well, if we look at a broader picture, it's about Iran. Yes. Iran, the jihadi leader, together with Qatar, fund Muslim Brotherhood cells all over the world. By the way, they're the biggest funder of terror around the world. So they fund Hezbollah in Lebanon, they fund Hamas in Gaza, they fund anywhere they find those cells, they support them. And our charter, not just Israel, it's the whole free world. We have to focus on making sure that Iran does not have a nuclear power and is weakened. And so that we can actually expand the Abraham Accord with the Saudis, with Indonesia, and other moderate Arab states. It's a charter that we have together in the free world to combat terrorism. I know that India is also challenged with terror. So. It's the same type of challenge we all have. We have to unite together against the jihadis and against the terrorists.
Syria is also a key factor. In the last several months, Israel has taken proactive measures, for example, destroying places where rockets and missiles were being built. In the last couple of weeks, you have hit the remnants of the Syrian armed forces of the old regime very hard. They are perhaps no longer viable in the same way. But there is a new regime over there. There is uncertainty over there. Do you believe that the lack of stability in Syria is something that might still impact your country in the long term?
We always hope for the best, but prepare for the worst. Because unfortunately, the ones that are now leading Syria are again jihadists. Hopefully they change their mind and seek peace. And mind you that we have peace with Egypt 40 years.
Yes.
With Jordan 25 years. With the Abraham Accords 4 years. So Israel's demonstrated that if our neighbor wants to come to the table and collaborate with us and create peace, we will find a way. They have to recognize the state of Israel. They have to wish for peace. The peace we have with the Emirates is an amazing peace. Really good economy, really good stability. We pray for that on a daily basis. Yet we understand that they're a threat, and we have to make sure that nothing like October 7 will ever happen again to Israel.
I was interviewing the Director General of the International Atomic Energy Agency right here last evening, and he had some interesting points to say about Iran. He said that Iran has developed a large amount of uranium which can be weaponized. At the same stage, there are indicators that perhaps they don't have a nuclear weapon at this stage. What are your concerns about Iran's nuclear program? Do you believe that they are close to developing a nuclear weapon which could potentially be used to target your country?
Well, they're jihadists. Their charter is to destroy the state of Israel, to have a second Holocaust. And by the way, they call Israel the little Satan. The big Satan is the United States. And all the rest of the countries are on the same line, somewhere in the middle. We're all on the same line. Yes. They're jihadists. They want to wipe out Saudi Arabia and take over the holy sites of the Muslims. They're not good people. They're bad people. And I listen to what they say in Iran, not just what they say on the news. Their intention is bad. Therefore, we don't trust what they say. They will try to lie and cheat because it's part of their charter. Their charter is to promote Sharia law and jihad all over the world. Therefore, we must take all the precautionary measures and be very proactive and make sure they never have the capability. Because if they, God forbid, they do, there are people that were going to use it.
Mr. Barkat, I must ask you, in as much as we've spoken about terrorists and what Hezbollah and Hamas have done to target Israel, there are innocent people in Gaza who have nothing to do with terrorism. There are young children, women, mothers. The loss of life has been very hard and very harsh. I know that you would accept that. There's also a process of rebuilding so that ordinary people who have nothing to do with terrorism can get back homes, can get back lives and education, perhaps an economy, whatever it is. How important is that process going forward?
I'm happy you raised this. The world has to understand, we in Israel protect our civilians. We put them in safe zones. The army protects them. The army's goal is to protect the people. In Gaza, Hamas did exactly the opposite. They embedded all their terror infrastructure in homes, hospitals, in mosques, in schools, because our strength, which is caring for life, is perceived by them as a weakness. And so they put their civilians in front line and they hide in the tunnels. They don't care about their own lives. And now for us to dismantle the capabilities of terror, we have to dismantle the physical, the civil infrastructure. So we make sure we tell all the civilians, shy away, move away from the terrorists, because we got to take everything, take it out, all out. So it's a very challenging approach for Israel. How to find the terrorists, shy away people, and unfortunately there is collateral damage. We understand that. Now, in terms of reconstructing everything, there's one first question we must ask whoever wants to rebuild Gaza. Do you recognize the state of Israel? Are you going to build Dubai, or are you going to build terror like you had in Gaza before.
Right.
Because if they don't recognize the state of Israel, they will rebuild their terror infrastructure. We cannot allow that to happen. So the first question the world has to ask, where are they headed? Dubai or Gaza? If it's Dubai, we'll help you. We'll allow the world to do that. But if you don't change your attitude towards Israel, and you claim that you're going to prepare yourself for the next October 7, it's not going to happen. It's a very clear question, and they have to decide where they want to go.
Let's turn our attention to the relationship between our countries. India has also invested a great deal in Israel. For example, the port of Haifa. That is ultimately meant to link up through an economic corridor through the Middle East, linking up Mumbai and Israel and then on to Europe. What is the prospect of that? What is the potential?
I would mention two things. First of all, I was, thank God, just a few months ago in India, and I met my peer, Mr. Piyush Goyal, the Minister of Economy, including a couple of other ministers. And there's high interest today between India and Israel to expand the collaboration. We are really, really good in technology. India is really good in scope and size, and it's a good match.
Yes.
And both countries are now really eager to expand the collaboration. I'm bringing the biggest ever huge mission of CEOs, of entrepreneurs and trade to India in February 11.
Yes.
It's going to be hosted by Mr. Piyush Goyal.
Yeah.
And then another mission will come to Israel, and we want to do more business on high tech, health tech, agro tech, food tech, desert tech, aqua tech, in advanced industry, and of course security.
Yeah.
Because there's really, really good prime minister to prime minister relationship, good government to government, good people to people, it's a classic infrastructure to do a lot of business to business. And I believe that now there's huge interest. Also, I think that geopolitically, now with the new president in the United States, President Trump, I think the collaboration between India and the US and Israel has huge potential. And I'm very optimistic that we will do a lot of things. As to the corridor, we're open for business. We want to make sure that the Saudis are on board, the Jordanians are on board, we're on board, and we're planning our part between the port of Haifa towards Europe and Bet She'an towards Jordan and Mumbai.
Right.
We're open for business and we're eager to see it work.
How important is the personal chemistry between Prime Minister Netanyahu and Prime Minister Modi in driving the relationship?
It's extremely important, and I have to thank Modi because he's the first to call Netanyahu October 7 and to give his support to Israel. We will never forget that. Israel has good memory, and when we have our tough times, to have that phone call and support is extremely meaningful for us, and we're very thankful.
The fact that you enjoy incredible support in India, it's played out all the time on social media. We face terrorism, as we alluded to. Israel has been a victim of terrorism as well. But the support that you find from people in India to Israel and your cause, how encouraging is that? And what does that say about the state of our relationship? It's ultimately about people, right?
I'm very optimistic. Generally, I understand that we went through an extremely tough time, October 7. But as big as the crisis we had, the bigger the opportunity. And by overcoming the terror around us, we share that, how to do that with our friends. And India is a great friend of Israel. And so you could assume that all the knowledge and experience we have on security and on offense, on defense, and of course on making food and having better health systems, all of that. We'd love to share with India, and that's what we're, for me as Minister of Economy and Industry, India is now the highest priority. And that's why I just had a meeting, and I'm just coming back from a meeting with a huge mission, and Israelis are eager to see how we translate that relationship to do more and more business. Now, India is the biggest country, the biggest country in the world in terms of population. And I see the growth. You have a really smart government. And focusing on growth. And so that size and growth speed is an opportunity for Israelis, And I'm very, very honored that we can translate that trust and relationship to do more and more business.
Two more questions. I must remind you, Minister, that we had one of our worst terrorist moments on our 26/11. There were Israeli nationals who were killed in the Chabad house in Mumbai. There were Indian nationals who helped to save the lives of Israelis at that stage. So there is that deep association. Just a point that I thought I'd bring up there. But one final question. You were talking about the strategic relationship. That's built on high tech. It's built on the transfer of a great deal of Israeli technology to India. One of India's primary philosophies is make in India. Do you believe that the Israeli defense industry can do more to make in India, bring your technology, co-produce it over here, build in India with Indian partners to help India's national security?
Yeah, I think we're working on it together with the Minister Piyush Goyal. Strategically, it could work well. There's a few things we have to iron out to make sure that it's in the best interest of both countries. That's why the mission is coming. I have a number of big security companies coming with me on that mission. We want to make sure that that we all feel comfortable in the model. It's a unique model, and the scope and the scale of India, it makes sense to do that. But we have to iron out the little details, and that's one of the reasons why we're coming to collaborate and work all the details out.
Minister Barkha, thank you very much.
My honor and pleasure. Thank you
for
very much.
speaking to us. Thanks very much indeed.
Thank you.
Well, there you have it. The Israeli economy minister and industry minister telling us about the deep relationship that India enjoys with Israel. The business relationship is really going to pick up in the days ahead. He shares the concerns of Israel on a common threat, the threat of terrorism.
I'll fix him, love. Poor pet. Just shows you never know what's going to happen. Which reminds me, I need to protect the life we've built. That's why I'm looking into smart family life insurance. Hi, I'd like a quick quote, please.
Okay, you can choose a benefit amount up to £750,000, depending on your age. If you're a UK resident aged 18 to 64, you can apply with just a few health and lifestyle questions. For £250,000 of cover, the price starts at just £14.77 a month.
That's less than I thought. And it could help my husband with the mortgage.
Just like families, not all life insurance is the same. That's why we offer the Smart Family Guarantee.
That's good to know.
You'll also receive a 100% advance in the event of terminal illness and 10% cash back on your first year's premiums. That's the Smart Cashback. Plus, you'll also get your choice of a £125 gift card.
Protect the life you've built the smart way. To get a free quote today, call our specialist UK team on 0800 977 5753 or visit smartinsurance.co.uk.
Please, can you send someone out? The poor thing is so skinny, I don't think he can walk. Oh, the poor thing. This is awful.
Okay, let me take an address.
Today, the RSPCA will answer over 2,000 calls about animal cruelty and neglect.
It's just completely unacceptable, isn't it, mate?
Today, we will need to take over 100 animals into our care. Today, we urgently need your help to save them. Please call 0800 121 4228. Every minute of every day, animals are suffering heartbreaking cruelty and neglect. Every day, our team works tirelessly to save them. A gift of just £2 a month will help us do even more. Answer more calls, rescue more innocent animals, and provide more life-saving treatments. But today, animals are suffering terrible abuse and neglect. Help us save them.
He's just been left tied up, I think. Poor thing's got no hair on him. He's in a terrible state.
Today, please call 0800 121 4228 or text TODAY to 82727 and give £2 a month. That's 0800 121 4228. Thank you.
With retirement round the corner, I want to spend more time with my family and less time worrying about the numbers. Which reminds me.
Welcome to British Seniors, the UK's #1 rated provider of over 50s life insurance.
Hi, I'd like a quick quote.
No problem. We're proud to offer our seniors lifetime guarantee. With 100% of claims having been paid, we guarantee your premiums will never go up and that you'll speak to one of our specialists in the UK. UK residents aged 50 to 80 are guaranteed to be accepted. Depending on your age, your loved ones can get a cash payout up to £10,000.
And that money could help with funeral costs, or even as a gift for the grandkids. I'll do it.
Plus, when you sign up, you'll receive a £135 gift card and free 24/7 GP advice and health services.
You got them all right. That's amazing.
Be proud to protect your loved ones with British Seniors. To get a free quote today, call our UK team on 0800 977 5808 or visit britishseniors.co.uk.
As a Marie Curie nurse, I help people spend their final moments at home with their loved ones. But I can only be there if people go out and collect for Marie Curie.
When you collect for the Great Daffodil Appeal, you'll help us provide expert care that eases pain at the end of life, whatever the illness. It's so easy to join in. Just call 0800 144 5564 or search Marie Curie Collect.
We really need more people to collect this year.
Actor of the Year. By the way, my dear friends, you know, probably I am one of the first ones in the history of NDTV.
It's also an occasion, it is almost every year, for the India story to really be highlighted across this region, not only at the World Economic Forum, but on the sidelines as well. We've got a wonderful, wonderful guest with us, the Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh, Mr. Chandrababu Naidu. Thank you, sir, very much for being with us. In terms of investments that you are potentially seeing coming into Andhra Pradesh this time around, is there a big buzz over your state?
No, generally this is the place where networking will take place.
Yeah.
Short time, number of people you can meet and network. That is the biggest purpose here. Second, to know the latest trends going on all over the world. And also investment, how much you can mobilize, and also how to harness. These are all the various issues we are working for the last so many years.
Right.
I am very happy this time. Green energy, green hydrogen is the hot subject globally.
And AI also.
And also AI, and deep tech in all walks of life. So this is where we wanted to promote. We want to be leaders in that. Andhra Pradesh will be a green hydrogen hub.
We'll talk about green hydrogen in a second, but speed of doing business is your mantra. When you reach out to foreign investors to come in, how is that a central theme that you will clear projects as soon as possible?
Not only that, in future, speed of doing business is one aspect, and at the same time, all departments how to deliver to the citizens effectively, at most efficiently. That is another aspect. We are in an inspiring time.
Right.
One side, historical data. One side, AI is matured. Another side, real-time data collection, updation, integration.
Right.
These are all the deadly combinations.
Absolutely.
Then we will find a real solution and also communicate real-time for action.
Right.
Earlier, I used to talk about transparency. Now, it is a matter of knowledge enhancement. That is what is happening. Second is speed of doing business is the reality. Business always has to be done within time stipulated. That is where we are working. I am convincing investors. Investors are having confidence and faith on us because of past track record.
Yeah.
That is also happening now.
Let's talk about green hydrogen. It is seen to be the future, but the concern is that green hydrogen could be very expensive. And therefore, there is the technology, there is the production, and then there is the sale as well. Are you confident that the price will be something which will be viable for people across our country?
No, what I'm saying, worldwide, warming is global warming is a reality. We are crossing 1.5.
Yes.
Now everybody is worried. We are seeing the impacts all over the world. Now issue is how to bridge the gap between countries on green energy, green hydrogen, all these aspects. Now in our state, if we can go for solar, wind, and also pumped energy, compared to your traditional energy, average power procurement cost, it will be less
as
on today. My farmers are required power during the daytime.
Right.
I can have power generation at substation itself or pump set itself, zero transmission losses.
Right.
So, levelized tariff first phase we can reduce drastically. Now, slowly it is maturing green hydrogen. Recently, NTPC and Genco has laid the foundation for green hydrogen in Visakhapatnam. It is 1,87,000 crores. Greenco is going in a big way. Already they produced a hybrid model, solar, wind, pumped energy, green energy. Now they want to go for green ammonia.
Right.
They are working in that direction. Now within 1 year they are going to produce.
Yes.
Buyers also they are tying up. So this is a reality slowly maturing.
You're going to set up a drone city. I'm curious to know what that would be all about.
Now future is a real-time analytics, real-time application.
Absolutely.
Drone is a flying. Very interesting period we are watching. Satellite will move once in a time. You can get data.
Yes.
Now CCTV drone is another thing.
Yeah.
Drone you can fly at any time.
Yeah.
And then it will detect the pest. It will apply the pesticides with precision in agriculture. That is the beauty of that. That means that is the development in future, cost effective and also reduction of pesticides and fertilizers. All mechanization is coming now. With the mechanization, lot of changes are going to come. Police patrolling. Earlier I had to depute so many people. Now I can depute 2-3 drones. It will patrol.
Yes.
Any need, then only people will go. Like that, so many applications. Health, education, carrying medicines. When there is a flood, I cannot reach every home. No. I can send it through drone.
Right, right.
Like that, that's why India is not matured enough for drone applications.
No.
I want to prepare use cases. I want to train pilots. And then I want to give certification.
Yeah.
Everything we are working, I am giving a challenge, open challenge. Go for applications, use cases. Which are all the use cases are viable and practical. Straight away I will adopt.
Yeah.
Make Andhra Pradesh as a model state.
Yeah.
For all your demonstration.
Yes.
Then we will give proof of concept.
Yes.
If it is proved, then you can replicate scaling, national level, global level, commercialization, everything they can do it.
Yeah.
That is the model we are working now.
And sir, in terms of building new cities, that's obviously a key part of what you're doing. We can see some fantastic new cities, a new capital in Andhra Pradesh. It's been a project which was slowed down last time around. It's been a priority for yours when you were Chief Minister last time around. How is that shaping up? What are your time estimates?
Yeah, you know very well, I developed Hyderabad. 2 cities, I added 1 more city, Cyberabad.
Yes.
It is IT hub, knowledge economy. Now, after bifurcation, I am forced to develop 1 more city, that is Amravati.
Yes. It'll be the grandest of them all?
Grandest of, naturally, it is the latest, grand, and also new technologies, environmental sustainability and friendly. We want to make everything possible. It is again I'm telling you, for India, we need more and more new cities, modern cities. After Chandigarh, only expansion of cities, not building new cities.
Correct.
So this will be brand new, greenfield city, not brownfield city. So with all latest, what all you can name anything, all these things I want to build here. That will be the attractive city in future.
And one final question I must ask you. It's been 6 months now of this government. You are, in a sense, the most important ally of the BJP, 16 MPs. But you have always said from day number 1, look, Andhra is first for me. And that's what we're talking about over here. Do you believe that the centre has backed you in the way that you want the centre's support towards your initiatives?
Center is doing its best. But my state is in deep troubles. 5 years rule, total destruction. Amaravati is almost all defunct and destroyed. Polavaram, it is derailed. Development is totally stopped. I had so many problems. NDA promised to the people, we will rebuild Andhra Pradesh. Give us mandate, we will work together and we will rebuild.
Is that happening, sir?
That is happening slowly. But
Are you happy with the pace?
No, automatically I am very happy. They are doing their best. But overnight we cannot transform. But things are happening very fast.
Right.
Amaravati is on track. Polavaram is going on. Visakhapatnam railway zone, they have started. Even Visakhapatnam steel plant revival package they have given. So many things, they have done their best.
Right.
So we are moving.
Right.
But I am very happy. Both central government is doing its best. We are also moving in that direction.
Mr. Naidu, always a pleasure to speak to you. Thank you very much for sharing your visions, your dreams about a new Andhra Pradesh, new cities, and many of the other development projects as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's back to the studio.
Thank you.
One of the most challenging jobs anywhere is for the IAEA, the International Atomic Energy Agency, to ensure that the world that we live in is safer. Nuclear standards have to be maintained. The possibility of some accidents needs to be avoided. The entire work of regulation goes down to strict monitoring and compliance, and a sense that nations across the world must follow what the IAEA has to say. We've got a wonderful guest with us. Rafael Mariano Grossi is the global head of the IAEA. Thank you very much, sir, for being with us.
Great pleasure.
The last couple of years must have been, or have been, extremely difficult for you with the situation in Ukraine, and the fact that nuclear reactors over there are right in the middle of the war itself. Have there been occasions when you felt that you were perhaps minutes or hours away from something catastrophic?
A few times, yes. You know that this nuclear power plant, which was occupied in the early hours of the war, has remained in this situation. As you rightly say, it is in the middle or just on the front line, which means that it is extremely fragile.
Zaporizhia, right?
Zaporizhia, exactly. Six nuclear reactors, the biggest in Europe, 6 gigawatts, of installed capacity. And as such, it has been subject to sometimes shelling or more frequently than that, blackouts, which means that loss of cooling function might have led to a nuclear accident. So we are, always counting it by the day. When we have situations like this, we have to be always on alert. We have a permanent group. They are doing a job in terms of interacting with the management. We are advising, we are reporting, updating on whatever is happening. This group deployed there is doing that, and in every other facility in Ukraine. So as you say, it is an unprecedented situation. Never before has a war been fought and in the midst of a vast civilian nuclear infrastructure. So this is one of the biggest challenges, not the only one, certainly, that we have, but one of the biggest challenges that the IAEA is facing.
The West Asia situation, fingers crossed, might be a little better now with the hostage situation improving, but there was a huge concern that missile barrages might end up resulting in something larger. Many in Israel say that Iran is building a nuclear weapon. Is it the IAEA's belief that that is the case?
No, we don't have any evidence that Iran is building a nuclear weapon, but at the same time, it is true that Iran has accumulated a vast amount of enriched uranium, very high level of enrichment, which makes it very, very close to weapon level grade. And on top of that, we have not been having the full cooperation of Iran in clarifying a few important things about past and perhaps present activities. I am fully engaged, I have to say. We are inspecting. The thing is that we are not inspecting at the levels or in all the places that we believe we should be inspecting. I had the opportunity to visit, I've been very frequently to Tehran, but this time I met with President Pezeshkian, with the foreign minister and others, and we are trying to improve the situation. Of course, now with the change of administration in the United States, there is an expectation that things may be moving again. We are going to be talking to all partners, as we always do, in trying to make or to bring more certainty to this very volatile situation in Iran.
You've seen the Indo-US civil nuclear deal very, very closely. In a sense, underpins the strategic relationship between India and America, but it's not really been realized in terms of nuclear reactors being built in India because of the liability clause. In the last few days of the Biden administration, there was a sense that America was trying to push some of their own laws to ensure that there would be a greater understanding between nuclear firms to perhaps build in India. Do you believe that the road has been set or the path has been set to see more American nuclear reactors in India?
Well, it's a good question for my Indian and my American friends. What I can say from my perspective is that the Indian civil nuclear program is one of the biggest, more diverse in the world, with local build, also imports. I mean, India has every technology and masters every technology in a very good way. And I believe that with the current expansion and interest in nuclear energy that we are seeing, we are in a better position, perhaps in the best position ever, to see that those levels of cooperation, trade between the United States and India grow even more. I'm optimistic in this sense.
India has a fast breeder nuclear reactor program. Many say that the technology is fairly advanced. There is a great deal of hope that it would succeed. What are your thoughts on it, and how safe are India's nuclear reactors?
Absolutely safe, I would say. India applies to its civilian nuclear program, the one I see, the highest levels of internationally agreed and IAEA established nuclear safety standards and security guidance. We interact with the Indian nuclear establishment very, very frequently, and so we can see that that is the case. In terms of the technologies, including fast breeders, there is a lot of, there's an array of technologies there. Fast breeding technology has been available for some time, and if India so decides, it could be an interesting add-on to its fleet.
India has a moratorium on testing. After we did our tests during the Pokhran tests, Pakistan followed. But there's always a concern, given the volatile neighborhood. What if China were to test again, or what if Pakistan were to test again? Would India therefore be in its rights to perhaps test as well?
Our position, of course, and the position in the international community is that we should move towards a general ban on nuclear testing. So we hope there won't be a need for further testing, neither in the subcontinent nor elsewhere.
India, as a responsible nuclear power, has always felt that we need to be or should be a part of the nuclear suppliers group. Do you believe that that needs to take place?
Well, you know, I myself, I have been president of the nuclear suppliers group 2 terms, and I interacted very actively in trying to bring this to an equitable solution, including other countries that had similar aspirations. Why I say this? Because I consider that all those who are key actors in the nuclear industry should participate in schemes that provide for reliability, credibility in the nuclear industry worldwide. So it's for my successors in those positions to see what can be done. But my interactions, including with Foreign Minister Jaishankar, were extremely useful. We were very close at that time to a good outcome. Of course, there is a bigger, wider political scene which enters into consideration when it comes to that.
But in your personal opinion, as somebody who's been in this field for so long, India should be a member of the NSG, the Nuclear Suppliers Group?
I think this is for their members to decide. And I, as head of the IAEA, which includes members of the
Yes.
NSG and
Yes.
others who are not members of the NSG. Perhaps I should be prudent in what I say. At the same time, as I said, I believe that all relevant actors, and India is a global player in nuclear and in any other activity, human activity, they should be part of the system and the pillars of the system, including the energy.
I had a very interesting interview 3 days back over here in Davos with an American group which is building or prototyping the first fusion nuclear reactor.
Yes.
What's the future there?
Well, fusion has been, there's this quip that fusion is the energy of the future and it will always be. But I think we are seeing that that is not the case, and that the possibility, the prospects for commercial fusion are closer than ever before. We see a lot of private investment in the United States, in Russia, in China, in Japan. In India, we see also groups working in fusion. I have myself established the first World Fusion Energy Group, which was launched in Rome last November with Indian participation as well. So the process is gaining momentum, is very exciting, and my impression is that sooner than many expected, we will see great progress in bringing fusion to the energy possibilities that we have.
What about thorium? Do you believe thorium
Thorium,
fuel?
and in particular in India,
Yes.
There has been a very keen interest, and I'm fully aware of the excellent research and development work that have been taken place, has been taking place in India. At the end of the day, my impression is that this is driven by the costs and the commercial interest in this cycle. India already masters this cycle, but the extraction of thorium, production of thorium, processing of thorium, the operation in the reactor make it so that so far, at least for now, the prevailing view in the market has been that the uranium cycle is more manageable. That doesn't mean that thorium, which holds enormous promise, I would say, will not be used in the future.
A final question, with President Trump yesterday saying that he wants to withdraw from the Paris climate agreement or talks, do you believe that the future for nuclear power is greater? That, to cut down on carbon emissions, more countries, if possible, need to invest in nuclear?
We are seeing that. We are seeing that already. The fact that the Director General of the IEA is here in Davos, apart from the strategic issues that we have been discussing, is proof of that. There is enormous interest in the South, in the global South, in America, in China, in your own country, in many countries. So we see that. The sources, the reasons why people are turning back to nuclear or are doubling down in nuclear may be diverse. If you look at countries like China or yours, it's the huge economic development that needs to be powered in a sustainable way. If you look maybe in Central Europe, there might be considerations related to energy security and the evolution of the geostrategic situation over there. So it depends. I think when it comes to energy, there is no one-size-fits-all explanation. But one thing we see, there is more nuclear, there is going to be much more nuclear.
All right. Well, Mr. Grossi, thank you very much for speaking to us.
It was a pleasure.
Well, there you have it, the head of the IAEA telling us about India's prospects, the safety of India's reactors, but also how vulnerable and volatile the international situation has been, particularly in Ukraine. Hopefully, nuclear energy can be used for peaceful purposes and for safe purposes as well. The World Economic Forum has been changing in a sense over a period of time. There are several questions which are being raised about the nature of the discussions over here, whether it is as significant politically, internationally over a period of time. Somebody who's been coming over here for what, 25 years consecutive years?
Well, except for the couple of years when it didn't happen because of the pandemic, but I've been here every year since 1999, and there was one year when it was in New York.
Right. Sir Martin Wolf with us. Thank you, Sir Martin, very much for being with us. I suppose the big story is the US presidency, Trump coming back into power. One of the key steps which he's announced, widely expected, withdrawal from the Paris Climate Agreement. We keep talking about climate over here, and this seems to be a very, very regressive step. Where is the world headed with America taking this decision?
Well,